Hey everybody, good morning. This is Legal Vices. It's 11 a.m. in sunny Busan, Korea. How is everybody doing today? We've got an interesting show. No introduction today because I didn't think about it. And what we're going to be doing today is just have a nice little conversation. We are going to be talking with Dani Ahn, who is a candidate for the Salt Lake County District Attorney in Utah. Kind of get her perspective on some of the things, the Johnny Depp, Amber Heard trial, family law situations, toxic femininity, things like this, Korea, Utah, whatever. And, if anybody has any questions for, super chat questions, she said she'd be happy to answer them. But before we bring her on, I just want to say welcome to everybody. I know that it's not the usual time slot for me, but this is what happens when you have guests that are 13 hours, 15 hours, 15 or 16 hours difference. You've got to make accommodations. So, hey, everyone, welcome to the mods. Do your usual good job this morning. And let me introduce you to our guest today. Again, it's Dani Ahn, who is running for Salt Lake County District Attorney. She's going to be on here just to give us a different perspective. And here's a perspective for her.
This is not New York.
Man shot dead and 2 others hurt by bullet.
This is not San Francisco.
Homeless crisis.
And raped.
Smuggling the drugs.
This is Salt Lake County. You wouldn't know it, though, if you've seen some of the things that I've seen. What was once the crossroads of the West has now become an outpost for crime. Just this last September, Aaron Lowe, a football player from my alma mater, was gunned down by a suspect with a long history of violent crime. His cases included plea deals, delays, and dismissals. If our DA was serious about being tough on crime, it's likely that Aaron Lowe would still be alive. Unfortunately, his case is just the tip of the iceberg. Sexual assault occurs right here in the state of Utah every 6 hours. That means that the vast majority of these victims are not reporting the crime. Here's why. Out of all the sexual assault cases that have been filed, only 35% have ever been reviewed. An even smaller percentage of cases ever lead to charges being filed. And of those charges, most are pled out. So what does that mean for you? That means that 65% of accused offenders aren't in jail and aren't on any lists. Let the facts speak for themselves. There have been too many plea deals for violent repeat offenders, too many unreviewed cases, and too many victims crying alone in the dark for too long. And I'm saying enough is enough. I hear their cries and I keep my promises. And I can promise you that if you vote for me, Danielle Ahn, that within the first 6 months of my time as district attorney, I will stop offering plea deals to repeat violent offenders. I will reforge our relationship with the police, and I will give a voice to victims. Victims deserve.
Okay, that is our guest today. Let's bring her up here. There you go. Welcome, Dani. How are you?
Good. How are you? Hello to everybody out there. Again, I am sorry that the time is off, but I very much appreciate you taking the time tonight.
And how did you find me?
I found you through simping for Nick Ricada, who still won't have me on, even though I sent him like 3 super chats.
Well, I will have anybody on that has anything to offer. But so that's where you are. So you are a Nick Ricada watcher. Who else do you watch on the law tubes? Anybody?
You, Nick Ricada. I'm trying to think. Should I shout out anyone else? Barnes is pretty good. Actually, Viva Fry is excellent. I loved his coverage of the truckers' protests up in Canada. I thought they were excellent.
Well, so you are running for Salt Lake County District Attorney. Give us a bio. Tell us everything that we need to know about you.
Sure. Well, I'll tell you what I told everybody at the parades. I have a thirst for justice. I want to see everyone treated equally under the law. I think it's really infuriating, some of the policies that my opponent has put into place. We've seen a 40% increase in murders, more than 40%, 44% increase in murders. And that's stark for a very small county compared to other capital counties in the country. We've seen 100% increase in violent crime and an over 200% increase in petty or smaller crimes. And the reason I use my fingers to say petty or smaller crimes is because I'm sure you're aware, most of the crimes that would regularly be charged as felonies right now are not being charged as felonies. They're being charged as misdemeanors. So although something should be, charged as a felony assault or a DUI, is now being charged as a misdemeanor, simple assault, but not even an assault. They're basically saying it's disorderly conduct, and letting people off. We have a catch and release program that has destroyed our county.
What are the big problems that are facing Salt Lake County? Because when I was there, and again, I guess we kind of have to back up a little bit. First of all, are just off the hook completely. And Korean fried chicken, you'll never have better fried chicken in your life.
Korean fried chicken. Okay, there's a saying in Korea, and well, for Americans in Korea, and it's something to the effect of burns going in, burns coming out, and if it doesn't, it's not Korean. Korean fried chicken is that way. Like, you will have the time of your life the night before and the time of your life the day after, and not, both of those indicate different times of your life, but it is an experience. I love Korean fried chicken.
MJ saying rolled in cheese curds. No, they stuff the hot dogs with like the horrible nacho cheese sauce. That it's so awesome. Yeah, and the mozzarella cheese. They'll stuff it. Yeah. Oh, yeah. If anything you can possibly do to a corn dog, they do it, and it's awesome.
Not anything. But yeah, they do a lot with corn dogs. It's phenomenal. They do everything. I mean, if anybody can go and try real Korean food, I highly recommend it. You'll gain weight. You'll be happy. Your family will love you. You'll gain respect. All your wildest dreams will come true. I can't overstate how excellent Korean food is.
Well, now that my ADHD has gotten us way off topic here.
Okay. But I also have ADHD. Speaking of things we have in common.
So we've done the law school, same state, Korea experience. We've kind of done all this, and so it was interesting talking. I'm surprised watching people in my chats how many people are actually from Utah.
What?
And I grew up in Logan, and I mean to see people here from Brigham and these other places, I'm like, holy crap! These are my neighbors. People telling me, oh, when you come back, you got to make sure you go to Peachtree restaurant or place. I'm like, oh yeah, totally.
We're probably related. If they're from Brigham, we're definitely somewhere along the Woodruff, Brigham Young, Snow family line.
I'm wearing my "This Is the Place" Beehive cigar shirt.
Oh my gosh, I love it. Oh.
Repping my hometown cigar shop.
Oh, that's all. I didn't even know there was one. Now I have to go. I don't smoke, but I like the smell of cigars. I think they smell great.
Down on South State Street, I believe, if I recall correctly. But anywho, so obviously the big thing in the news these days is Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. I'm assuming you've watched a little bit of it.
Oh, I watched all of it. All 50 days of that trial, start to finish, was an absolute riot. Like, I thought, okay, I will say in terms of entertainment value, Rittenhouse can't be matched, right? Like, Binger is the reason I ran, okay? Like, I did not want to see a DA like Binger here in Salt Lake. And then I quickly learned, oh no, we don't just have a Binger. We have like a Binger 2.0. Like, we have a Binger crack here in Utah. And I didn't want to see that. So that's why I'm running. But in terms of value in what it meant for, jurisprudence and everything, I think that the Rittenhouse case was pivotal. I also think in terms, though, of precedent and what this means for private citizens and public figures in defamation cases, this is a huge case. It is awesome. I'm so happy for Johnny. This is a well-deserved victory.
Well, going back to the Rittenhouse thing, what was, as someone who's running for a district attorney, what were your particular criticisms of him?
Of who? Rittenhouse or Binger?
Binger.
One, Fluffer Boy is not an appropriate email at any age. So don't do that. Number two, my other criticism is, I think as an attorney, you expect a level of professionalism and courtesy between you and your opposing counsel. Some of my opposing counsel I'm friends with today because they were just so professional and so honest in their dealings with me, right? So we were both playing the same game,
Mhm.
and it was just who could play it better. What Binger did was so dishonest, trying to get evidence in at the last minute, compressing the video file,
Yeah.
handing the compressed video file to opposing counsel, but then sending the updated and clear file to the court was just dirty. And then threatening people who were going to testify to keep their mouths shut, or offering them plea deals in exchange for keeping their mouths shut, and then talking to the jury about it. I mean, it was just such a fiasco. There was so much wrong with all of it. Not understanding, someone's Fourth Amendment privileges, rights, which is insane, because it's like, I've told people, even though I'm running for DA, respect the Fourth Amendment. It is what has the power to keep you safe from the people who want to destroy your life. That is what that is there for you to do and to hold and to treasure. It is such a beautiful gift that we have. And for him to just outright disregard that and go after witnesses and go after, Kyle for invoking the Fifth Amendment, for him to just go through that, it was abhorrent.
And he broke one of the cardinal rules of court: never piss the judge off.
Twice, not just once. Like, I was just taken aback when the judge starts screaming at him on live television. Like that.
And wholly justified.
Okay, I have one complaint against the judge. I love that judge. Why didn't he issue sanctions?
Well, okay. I was going to say, I was surprised to see there were no sanctions in that case.
I don't understand that. I think had it been a different judge, there would have been sanctions for sure.
Don't get brazen with me.
Yes. Yes. That is one of my favorites.
I think that the three biggest shocks I had from that case were just the expert way you get their star witness to say, well, no, he didn't actually shoot me until I lunged at him, pointed a gun at his head. And
that was the best.
That was such a great Perry Mason gotcha moment.
Oh, and he was great.
And as I was telling all my friends, when the camera shows the prosecutor doing this, that's not a good sign. That's really, really not a good sign for the prosecution when they're all going, oh, fuck me, what did you just say? And that was I called it moment right there. The other takeaway was him not being sanctioned.
Yes.
And the third takeaway was when he's like, oh, here's his AR-15. Let me point it right at the freaking jury. I was like,
with his
hand on the trigger. Exactly. I was just watching it going, holy shit, how can I was just waiting for one of the bailiffs just to dive and tackle him.
He's just such a special kind of stupid. It's impressive to me. Like, it's impressive to me that he even passed the bar. I'm curious how many times it took him.
Oh God!
No shade on any attorney where it takes you more than once. That's okay. But I'm guessing with Binger, it was more than 3 times.
For Maddie, thank you so much for that donation. That is awesome. I deeply appreciate it. IFID, I don't simp, but your guest cost is havoc. Damn you, Dr. Lobotnik, for almost making me fall into old habits. I'm from North Carolina, but Danny would get my vote.
Oh, thank you, IFID. I have to be really careful. I feel like I'm a lot like Sydney from the You Are Here podcast. Did you hear about all this drama?
Nope.
Okay, well, I will let your chatter
spill some tea, as the youngsters say.
I'm sure some of your listeners know about this drama, but basically, she read this super chat that she should not have read, and it pissed off their guest host, who then told her to F off and just stood up and left. Yikes. And I've heard people with clever names, like your listeners, I'm sure, have very clever names.
Oh yeah.
And I'm dyslexic and ADHD, guaranteed I would read it. I really do feel like what is it, Anchorman, where he just reads whatever's on the teleprompter. I feel like that would be me. That's why I don't, even when I do openings. Okay, and going back to the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial, I did not like that Camille decided to read her closing.
Yeah.
I mean, I get not everybody's that talented, okay? I'm not talented at reading, so I understand. I can't sit there and read off a script. I can't read off paper. Even when I'm reading evidence, I always hand it to the witness to read, even though, like I'll have them find it on the page because I'm so bad at reading out loud. But yeah, you memorize everything, right? You memorize it, you have it there, you have all the facts. You just go down the list and you have a little bullet point right there on the lectern.
Yeah, I mean, I was concerned at the beginning when she opened, just walking around holding the paper and reading. I thought, oh, this isn't good. And I was genuinely concerned because, I mean, like you said, you've had years to prepare for this. It's there, but I thought it was a little better that she kept the paper on the lectern for closing. The lectern was there. I thought that was a little bit better, but again, and that's kind of the general thing that I think all lawyers I've talked to have said. Don't read it. You should know this information. You should have it. Just, have the confidence. But yeah,
I also am not a fan of lecterns generally. I think lecterns kind of create this distance between you and the jury and between you and the judge. So like, I feel like it's like a security blanket, right? Where you just kind of hold on to it rather than letting it go, walking around it and really showing your confidence, not just because when you're confident to the jury and to the judge, it's so persuasive. It makes it look like you're confident in your case. You're confident in the facts. You're confident in the law, and people just believe you. I remember I was doing moot court, and we were doing intellectual property rights moot court, and we had gotten to the semifinals regional. So we were about to go to the finals at the national level. And I got the law completely wrong. I got the standard wrong. I completely ate it for me and my partner. I totally screwed it over. And so we get up, I get everything wrong. But one of the nicest compliments I've ever received is the judge came back. And as they're complimenting everybody else, they wait to compliment me because, there's not a lot to say. And it was a complete Elaine moment. They get to me though, and they go, I have to compliment you on one thing. You were wrong on everything, but you were so confident and so persuasive in the way that you delivered it. You made me think you were right. And it took the other two judges 20 minutes to convince me that you were wrong. So
nice. There you go. If you're going to argue wrong, argue hard.
What is it? If you have the facts, pound the facts. If you have the law, pound the law. If you have neither, pound the table.
We have Amanda Page here. This is how you don't do it. What's like when Elaine flopped her papers on the podium. That's when she had that was her cross-examination where she got 6 questions in 35 minutes that weren't objected to. And she was in, I'm trying here. That isn't a good show. That's not a good show strength.
I'll tell you, lack of learning to lay a foundation. When you get better at it, it's easier. But when you're a new attorney, or if you're not accustomed to doing exams, either direct or cross, then it's not uncommon for you to not know how to lay a proper foundation and just go, so did there come a time when, right?
Yeah.
Or could you recall when he, and she just really struggled. I felt for her, honestly, a little bit.
I think we need a new objection. The objection, she said, what if anything again?
Just because you say what if anything doesn't mean that you're not leading. And here's the thing, you can lead. I think that Camille would have backed off had she been leading in an efficient way, right? So you can lead without already this and this and this and this fact. Now let's fast forward to this time. Did there come a time when you were living there, or an incident that comes to mind that you would like to now tell the jury, right? That's totally appropriate. And they should have practiced. What surprises me is, to me, it's just evident of a lack of preparation between Elaine and her witness, right? They should have practiced this so many times that Elaine shouldn't even really have to ask these questions.
Yeah. Well, are you ready to wade into some deep waters here?
Oh no. Yes, maybe. Yes.
Dani, what did you think of the gun buyback in Salt Lake City this weekend?
What I said is, I said, I hope that they are doing background checks on every single person who brings back a gun to see if they have any outstanding warrants, and specifically for theft, because my guess is if you're trading in a gun for $50, it's because you stole the gun.
Yeah,
And
you don't
yeah,
say this is my $600-700 or $1,000 weapon. I'll take $50 for it and a Dairy Queen coupon. You know.
but as long as it's voluntary, I don't have an opinion. I think it's great. You want to hand over your weapon for $50? Hey, I'm always buying.
I like that perspective. I hadn't thought about that. You had to do background checks as part of the, and they come in, you lock the door until the background check is done.
Well, that's what they did in Florida. Did you hear about this?
No.
So the Florida police offered a program to test people's crack for fentanyl,
Nice.
and people actually showed up.
Nice.
So, I mean, and I'm sure you heard about California. I think it was California. Anyway, some jurisdiction in the US, they were like, oh, come, you can win this lottery prize.
Yeah.
And they just arrested everybody on
Yeah.
their warrants.
Yeah, everybody with a warrant, they sent out this notice to about a lottery or contest or something they'd won, and they all showed up and all went down hard. That was great.
Oh, you know what's sad is, a lot of those are bench warrants for like having a broken tail light and then not just paying your insurance on time. And I feel.
Well, now here we need to do a little bit of background. Is Dani currently a prosecutor? Tell us your legal background.
No, so I just did civil litigation for 3 years prior to deciding to run for DA. When I was in law school, I studied with Judge Paul Cassell, and he's a very strong victims' rights advocate. And so when I was there, I learned about a lot of things about my opponent that I found really abhorrent and disgusting, frankly. And so when I heard he was going to run unopposed, I said, I don't care what my level of experience is. It doesn't take a genius to figure out that what he's doing is bad for the county and I can do better. So I went ahead and threw my hat into the race. So I did civil litigation. I did everything from family law to complex litigation, dealing with, very many parties across multiple jurisdictions.
Judge Cassell was one of my law school professors.
How'd you like him?
Dude has one of the most brilliant minds I've ever seen on a human being in my life.
He's amazing. I have so much respect for that man. His wife is a prosecutor.
And he's argued some very important cases in front of the U.S. Supreme Court. I mean, he's a sharp guy. And that's good that you got to work with him and do those things. Why did you become a lawyer in the first place? What led you down this path?
So everybody, I think, wants to hear this like, oh, my whole life I grew up and I wanted to be a lawyer. No, mine's much more simple than that. So I got fired from one job in my entire life. And I wasn't technically fired because I wasn't technically hired. But needless to say, it was a very dark day. And I came home to my husband and I said, I can't do anything. I'll never be successful. And he goes, well, you like to talk a lot and you're really good at arguing and you usually win. So have you ever thought of being an attorney? And I said, sure. And so I took the LSAT. And I was already studying political science. My actual dream job was to become an ambassador someday. Okay. And it's actually interesting because let me back up. Let me lay some foundation here. So my parents used to be very wealthy. And my dad has severe mental illness. And he took off when I was 14. And he left us homeless. And my mom has a very rare form of cancer. And so she couldn't work. And so we were sleeping in our car on Christmas Eve, and I started singing on the streets, like busking in Branson, Missouri. And a singing coach walked by, and he heard me, and he said, hey, do you want me to train you so that you can go sing in the shows? And I said, yeah, absolutely. So I started to sing in the shows, and I was able to make enough money to to house my mother and my younger brother. And I've just been working every day since. And when you come from a broken home and you come from poverty and you've been homeless, you are constantly in contact with criminals, with crime. It really is. It's very difficult to be poor and not always be in trouble in the United States. I'm just being honest. And maybe that's true throughout the world. But it is exceptionally difficult not to get yourself into trouble. I was fortunate. I never got into trouble. I had wonderful mentors. I was raised as a very strict Christian, a very strict form of Christianity, which you mentioned before. I was Mormon. And so growing up with that background, it actually helped keep me on the straight and narrow path. And my mother always taught me that no matter what happened in life, because we lived in America, I could achieve whatever I wanted to. And I believed her and I believed in myself. And so I really applied myself and I worked really hard. I served a mission. I came back. I met my dear husband, made the best decision of my life, got married. It's worked out so far, 8 years, going strong.
Good for you.
Thank you. Thank you. And he didn't want a professional student as a wife. When I told him I wanted to become a diplomat, he said, yeah, okay, go get a trade school, go to trade school, build a career. And I said, okay. So I grew up because I was homeless for that period of time. I self-studied. I did homeschool. And so I read all the classics. I read, Thomas Paine is still one of my favorite, all-time favorite writers. And I knew that the vast majority of our founding fathers were attorneys. And so I always admired attorneys, but not today's attorneys, not the ABA, sanctioned, you're now an attorney. I mean, the Abraham Lincolns, all of those original attorneys who did self-study like me, who went through apprenticeships, who worked their butts off, and who made something of themselves when they had nothing else. And so I had a lot of admiration. I just wanted to be like them. And so when my husband said, hey, why don't you become an attorney? I was like, okay, sure. So that's how that came all about to be.
Well, so you've been on the not so great side of society a lot, the downtrodden side of society. How is that going to affect you as a prosecutor, both from the attack side as well as the understanding and mercy side?
Well, and I think that's a great question because it illuminates what I'm talking about in my platform, right? In the beginning of my video, I talk about no plea deals for repeat violent offenders, and that goes towards accountability. If you have too much compassion, accountability and compassion go hand in hand. If you see it as a weight or scales, right? We try to be as compassionate as possible. And not only that, our entire system is designed to assume innocence, right? And we follow the constitutional principles that are there that protect every single citizen that should be assumed to be innocent. On the other hand, you have accusations and you have evidence and you have accountability. And if the prosecutor isn't doing their job and leveling out that accountability, on a large scale societally, we begin to incur compassion fatigue. I saw this all the time when I was homeless. People would give and give and give and get frustrated when homeless people wouldn't suddenly not be homeless, right? Or when an addicted person would suddenly not, stop doing drugs. And the reality is that accountability, the practice of accountability was not also there, right? The dollars that they gave were never tied to, well, you have to go to rehab, right? Or you actually have to stop doing drugs. I'll pay for your housing, right? But only if you get a job, right? And if you don't get a job, you need to explain to me why you didn't get a job. There has to be that accountability and that compassion in everything that we do. And that's why I also focus on victims and victim advocacy in the work that I do. Because as a prosecutor, I think too often we focus on, it's actually Nick Rekieta, so I want to give him credit where it's due. He said, a prosecutor's job is not to put people in jail. It's not to secure convictions. It's to find justice. And I thought that was just so plainly well-spoken. And that's what it is, right? You're trying to find justice, and justice for a victim and justice for a perpetrator look different, right? From different perspectives. But if you take the perspective of accountability with compassion, it gives you compassion to say enough's enough.
Well, that's one thing I want to kind of press you a little bit on that, because that's something that's come up in chat here. I've been saying, why should we trust a DA? Never trust a DA, because of that. And that goes in line with this one comment here. Meredith Deal says, is Sim Gill the district attorney now? Yes, he is. And he was running unopposed until Dani stepped in, as she said. Now, we were talking backstage a little bit here. I've had one experience with Sim Gill and read a lot about him. There's not an ounce of compassion in his body for anyone that I've ever been able to see. He's definitely just a grab them by the throat prosecutor. And how are you going to be different than that? How can we be sure, I guess, that you'll put your money where your mouth is and look for the justice as opposed to the win?
So for me, here's how you can be sure. I don't want to do this job, and I don't want to do this job for longer than I have to. Okay. My goal is to end plea deals for repeat violent offenders first, right? That's one easy area where I can work on that, right? If you hit your wife once, you can go and get some treatment depending on the circumstances. You can go get help. You can go, you can't go back to the house for a bit, right? You need to go get some serious help. But there are circumstances where treatment is appropriate. You hit your wife again, you go to jail. This is common sense. This is like a no-brainer, right? That's the kind of person I am. I don't want to say that I'm based, but I think if you could ever have it, I'm the opposite of a woke prosecutor, right? I'm the opposite.
We'll call it based just for the sake of discussion.
Sure. I'm based.
Yeah,
I'm the opposite of a progressive prosecutor. Somebody today, I was walking in the parade and someone yelled that. They were like, "Are you a progressive prosecutor?" And I turned around and I said, "No, because I believe in equality and justice under the law. You don't believe in that. You believe in equity under the law. You believe that justice isn't blind. You believe that justice should look at the totality of their life circumstances and really feel sorry for them and work at you." Bro, that's not my job. That's the defender's job. That's the judge's job to look at all that. That's the jury's job. I have everyone else in the court. That's their job. My job is to lay down the law, lay down the facts. And if I can prove my case, then I prove my case. And I hold that person accountable. And I ask the judge to sentence them accordingly, appropriately, not under the sentencing guidelines, at the sentencing guidelines at a minimum, in my opinion.
Well, how do you feel about creative sentencing, sort of the avoidance deal? Because going back to my very limited in-court experience back when I was a 3L doing the third-year practice, one of my cases was a guy who was in this cycle. He was arrested for drunken disorderly, put in the hole for a couple of weeks, put in jail for a couple of weeks. He'd lose his job. He would get out. Because he didn't have a job, he would get depressed. He would beg. He would get some money. He would get a job. He'd lose that job because he was drunk. And it was just this cycle of drunk, jail, lose job, get job, lose job, drunk, jail. And I just asked him, what is it going to take to get you out of this? He said, I need a bus ticket to go be with my family in Colorado. That's all I wanted. I just want to get out of here because it was just this cycle. And of course, the prosecutor was calling for yet another jail term for another drunken disorderly for his 45th offense or whatever. I think it was like 15 different separate offenses. But I said, Judge, why don't we just get the guy on a Greyhound? And the judge kind of liked that idea and said, well, that was creative. That's a good idea. And if anything else, I think she's thinking it gets him out of my jurisdiction. I don't have to see him again. And it was a JP court. So, that's how, no, that wasn't the JP court. That was just regular court. But yeah, so that was it, was to get the guy on the bus and get him with his family. I mean, how are you on the creative sentencing, the youth, particularly for youthful offenders to get them in, the work programs and things like that to curtail further behavior?
I think it makes sense to a degree. I think where the DA has gone wrong and where many DAs have gone wrong is they haven't done any follow-up on these programs that are supposed to work. So it has to be at least somewhat data-driven, right? Objectively, if you have an only 70% rate of success, that means 30% of your people are reoffending and they're going to be stuck in that cycle. That's not a successful program. To me, that's a C-level program. I want to see at least 90%, 98%, right? Every single program, if you're going to be receiving public dollars to be treating these people and making sure they aren't in jail, then they need to be top notch. Now, there are programs out there that are like that I think some people are eligible for and are really great candidates for. One shout out here is to the Other Side Academy. What they do is they take half of the jail sentence or jail term, depending on the term, depending on the crime too, right? This is all crime dependent. there are some crimes where recidivism is much higher than others, right? So in those circumstances, there are programs like the Other Side Academy where they will take them from jail. So post-conviction, they've gone to jail. They'll put them in a home setting where there is strict rules, strict accountability that people have to meet. Otherwise, they go right back to jail, right? And what it does is it encourages people to try something new. So they get, they get education, they get training. They're not allowed to talk to women for like the first year. The male offenders, the female offenders, same thing. They're not allowed to talk to the opposite sex in that program for the first year. And then it's almost like it's not, I think a good comparison would be like the military. It provides some level of structure, but it's not as brainwashy as the military. Not to say the military is brainwashy. I take that back. But they definitely do program, right? They program their soldiers and they work with them, they train them. In that sense, they're similar, right? They're doing training and they're making sure that people are on the right path before they allow them to go home. And then they're working with parole after that fact. So there is creative sentencing that can work, particularly for the youth. We have youth courts in Utah that are extremely underutilized. Youth court is an excellent alternative, right? There are some kids who are just mean because they come from violent homes. I get it. I came from a violent home. But the cycle of violence stops with me, right? That's what people have to take accountability and realize is that, look, it doesn't matter. You're never a victim of circumstance. You're a victim of a crime. And you can either choose to go and perpetrate a crime on someone else, or you can choose to own that, that pain and heal from that pain and work through that pain, right? And we need to give people that opportunity. Justice courts for kids, there's youth justice courts. Youth courts, they're phenomenal. They get mentorship, they get one-on-one training. They'll basically have a youth counselor who's with them, periodically, sometimes 2 to 3 times a week during that period. And they'll come and work with the parents too, right? And make sure that the parents are getting educated, that the parents are getting counseling. My issue is right now in Salt Lake County, at least, that all these things are available to parolees and to ex-convicts. We don't have that available for just regular people who desperately need it too, right? If we're going to be saying, okay, you're going to get a GED while you're in jail, shouldn't we be offering, cost or free GEDs to just poor people? I kind of think that's a little odd, but it does give hope. But beyond that, I think creative sentencing makes sense in some regard. It just depends, and it has to be reliable. And you have to be, as DA, constantly looking at the data and making sure that these programs are working. Otherwise, you shut down the program, you do something else.
Well, bringing this back to our favorite Depp-Heard conversation, you're talking about having been in a violent situation and having seen the cycle of violence. Can men be the victim of physical and sexual violence?
100%. 100%. One of the most underrated issues in America is sexual and physical violence and emotional violence perpetrated against men and young boys. It's a big hush hush. I think that Spotlight did a good job of highlighting the sexual side of things, but there's so much more that can be done. We're talking nannies, teachers who get away with all kinds of crimes against young men who are abused by fathers. Whereas if a mother, and this is what pisses me off, if a mother beats her child incessantly, and I've had this happen, I've taken cases to judges where I've said, look, it is not in the best interest of this child to go back to the mother. The mother is a psychopath, and it takes months and months and multiple photos and multiple, police calls for the judge to even consider handing the child over to either a grandparent or to the birth father, the absentee father. He would rather that the child stay with an abusive mother, which is beyond me. I mean, it's like we give such a pass and such a privilege to women. And I think it's indicative, law is downstream of politics. Politics is downstream of culture. I think if you have a culture that doesn't place emphasis on the difference between men and women, I think both stand to lose a lot of the rights that they've fought so hard to gain.
Well, I think that's a huge thing. I think is especially. I'm just going to assume Utah is still the way it was 25 years ago, where essentially men have almost no say in the family courts. It's everything defaults to the mother or the female. Is it still as bad as it used to be? Where
No,
I mean,
it's not as
the
bad
idea
as
of
it
a
used to be.
man
It's
getting
getting better.
getting custody was almost unheard of when I was there.
Oh yeah, no, it's getting much better that way, and I attribute that to having more female attorneys. You saw it with Camille Vasquez. Women are better at holding women accountable in court. We're better at shaming each other in ways that men can't. If men do it, it looks like bullying, it looks like abuse. If a woman does it, it looks like accountability. So it really is a perception, a public perception that needs to change. And I think it's slowly changing. I also think that the judiciary has changed significantly here in Utah. We have far more. It's tough though, because I want to say that matters, but in my experience, it hasn't. All of my commissioners who were female tend to decide with mom and not with dad, which I thought was interesting. But yeah.
No, go ahead. No, go ahead. Keep talking.
But the law has changed. Statutorily, it's fairly equal, right? The presumption is equal time. The presumption is equal everything. So that's nice.
I had a question and I forgot what it was.
Sorry.
Darn.
I talked a lot. That's why
No.
my voice is gone. I'm so sorry, all you listeners, our audience out there. I can't speak. I talk way too much.
No, my brain goes like 5 steps above in front of my tongue. So dang, it was a good question too. It'll never come back to me. Crap. Oh well. Moving on then. So we have this situation with the. I'm just going to assume. Oh, that's what it was. It had to deal with female lawyers holding females more accountable. Do you think maybe there was a perception from the? I guess it's a 2-part question from the older judges, the older male judges on the bench. Then if it's the younger female lawyers that are holding females accountable, does that sort of equate to almost a patronizing viewpoint from the male judges? Okay, oh, mother knows best, so he gets, little Billy, little Susie needs to be with mommy because she's the mother and that's her job to raise the kids.
Of course, but it's strategic, right? It's all strategic. If like, for example, there was a judge who I had, who obviously I won't point out who it was, but there was a judge who I had who was very patronizing towards me. And I loved it. I ate it up. My vocal inflection went up. I'd be like, Your Honor, and I would play this like little humble mouse. And I got whatever I wanted. I just acted like his daughter and he gave me everything I asked. So is that fair? No. But is it a strategy? Yes. And did it work? Yes. And as an attorney, that's how your brain has to think. You have to be thinking, okay, what's in the best interest of my client? How can I, zealously represent them and also win, right? That's your goal. And as a prosecutor, it's interesting because as DA, I want to make sure your viewers understand when you're district attorney, you're not trying cases. Okay. You're not going out there and pretending to be a prosecutor. What you're doing is you're setting policies within the office. So one of the policies that my opponent has right now, which is absurd, and you can actually quote me on this, if I can quote it correctly, it was that a prosecutor should not bring or maintain charges against a defendant where the prosecutor believes the defendant is innocent, regardless of the evidence presented. You tell me what freaking legal standard, in what world that makes sense. Tell me that's a policy that makes zero sense.
Regardless of the evidence against him.
Regardless of the evidence that is
There's
presented.
evidence, but I don't believe it, so I'm not going to bring it to the jury.
Exactly. It's abhorrent. I mean, it's antithetical to the standard of what a prosecutor should be doing, right? A prosecutor should just look at the facts and look at the evidence and look at the law and move forward on a case. If they have probable cause, they move forward on the case. As they, go through discovery, obviously, if they find exonerating evidence, they need to hand that over to the other side. They need to, go ahead and move forward with dropping the case. But if you have, let's say I'm friends with Jody and I like Jody, right? And everybody says Jody is just the nicest person. But her husband comes in and says, Jody cut my finger off, right? Jody's a psychopath. She shat in my bed, right? And I say, as a prosecutor, well, I don't believe you. And all this stream of evidence comes in. And Jody comes in and she's crying. I didn't do anything. And I go, don't worry about it, Jody. I got you, girl. I let her go. In what world does that make sense? But that's the standard he has right now. Those are the policies that he is handing down to his prosecutors and enforcing in his own office.
Well, there was a comment. I tried to find it. I think I accidentally blocked it. I'll have to do that. It was saying, so basically your opponent is a narcissist. Hooligan S3, thank you so much for the donation. Simping for common sense, great discussion. And this, David, I took full custody of my daughter here in Utah, but it was almost impossible. Maybe I'll have to come on one of these days and talk about it. How open are you to people bringing issues to you on the street level?
I always say generally it's completely fine. I'm more than open to it because I'm not the smartest person in the world. I don't know everything there is to know in the world, right? So the more perspectives that I can get, the way I compare it is truth is somewhat like this mug, right? Yeah. If I turn the mug this way, you're going to think the mug looks a certain way. If I turn it this way, it looks a certain way. If I turn it this way, it looks a certain way. So I do value other people's perspectives because it allows me to see the entire mug, right? The whole truth. And sorry, that's for those who are wondering, this is like a citron tea in Korea. I'm drinking it because my voice is shot, but so I'm open to it so long as it's not an open and outstanding case. Because if it's an open case, I don't want to conflict myself out of a position, obviously. Well, I wouldn't, but I would put them potentially in danger, right?
Carlos, thank you very much here for on Sydney afterwards. Nick got involved from seeing the video and laughing at the guy's articles on sending their wife to sleep with another man.
That's the reading of the super chats that I was referencing earlier.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that was.
I mean, it didn't help that the guy presented himself as this alpha male within the alpha male universe. And he was like writing books and educating other men on how to be alpha males. And it turns out he was also very much into cucking. So
yeah, the chat was excited to hear that you actually knew about this. So see, I don't just have anybody on here, I got to at least be on the same page a little bit to have discussions with people. Everybody knows the Murph.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yeah, actually, it's cool. I just met Elijah Schaefer last week. He's
seriously?
Really great guy. When I was down in California speaking, I met him and he's nice, really great guy. And so hopefully I can get onto his podcast. That'd be sweet.
Well, dang. How do you feel about this? Just totally changing the subject again, but it kind of goes with what we've been talking about here with what goes on inside the courtrooms, what arguments are being made and how we perceive this. It's sort of the second part of the question I asked. From what I understand, you are the youngest person ever to run for a district attorney in Salt Lake County and maybe in the entire state of Utah.
Maybe in the U.S.
How do you think that's going to affect your viewpoint from the young perspective, from the youth perspective? I mean, how does that, you say you're not woke, but that's the whole perception is that all the young people are all these woke SJWs. But, for someone who says they're not in that camp, how will this allow you to do a better job than what is happening now?
Yeah, I think I'm far more aware of the actual issues as they're presented as they approach the court, right? So it's very difficult for me to, what's a great example? I think it's much easier for me to determine the difference between a joke, for example, right? What is memery and what is literal, right? I have had judges, and you saw this in the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard trial, where he kept talking about using her throat for other things.
Yeah.
We're not violent. And they kept having him repeat it like it was some kind of win. And I'm like, oh my God. Like, could you imagine if somebody was accused of murdering someone else and they had some really spicy memes on their phone, right? And the prosecutor comes to me and he's like, "Yeah, we've got him." And I look at his phone and I'm like, "Bro, the guy is just an edgelord. He's a lol cow. This isn't indicative of anything. This is not proof. Go out there and get actual evidence. So that kind of sets me apart. And then additionally, since I've been out of law school, almost all of my hearings have been virtual, right? So I have a little bit more of an understanding of the challenges, the actual technical challenges that attorneys have that my opponent has no clue, right? The man, with all due respect, is a dinosaur, right? He doesn't know how to operate Zoom. He doesn't know what Discord is. And to that degree too, in terms of discovery and everything else, especially, e-discovery, I'm far more confident than most attorneys I know, right?
Yeah.
If you tell me your screen name on Discord, I will find out your IP address. I will come and get every single piece of information on you I can possibly get. In that sense, I'm a little bit of a glowy, right? Like, I will find you and I will prosecute you.
So that would solve the problems of Binger going, metadata. I don't know. It's the same. It's exactly the same. We're just adding pixels. It's not a big deal. That is, you avoid that.
The 4 doors, more whores, right? Like, you don't repeat that multiple times unless you want the defendant to be a very likable defendant, which is what ended up happening.
Well, and we saw it in Depp-Heard as well. I mean, you have this 68-year-old woman who clearly has no knowledge of social media, and however old Rottenborn is, who I don't think he's ever seen a computer, just getting up there and saying, Amber Turd is trending, telling the jury, who's not supposed to know any of this. Not only are you telling them that
was Rottenborn.
It was Rottenborn, or I can't remember which one actually.
Because I thought that was Johnny's attorney. I thought that was Johnny's attorney who was trolling. Somebody correct us down in the chat.
It was in there saying, the whole world is against our client. It was just raising these issues where it's trending. The Amber Heard, justice for Johnny is a trending term, and Amber Turd is trending, and things you don't want to say.
Right. Well, and more than that, there is serious implications.
Oh yeah, it was her expert that was saying it. And under the direct examination, they were bringing this out. How they were showing that she suffered damages because the whole world is against her now, and the whole world is saying Amber Turd and justice for Johnny, and Amber Heard's an abuser and a liar.
I can't count how many times I've gotten rape threats in my chat, right? In my DMs. They're like, "I know where you live. I'm going to come get you." And like, I can't tell you how many times I have heard attorneys take that literally and take it seriously and be like, "I need security detail because they're going to come and, all kinds of things. They're going to teabag my dog," right? All kinds of horrible things. The trolls. I mean, not to feed the trolls. And one of the benefits to being young is I know how to avoid that. The other thing too is our current DA has no concept of blockchain or Bitcoin or how anything crypto works. And one of the largest issues we have here in Utah is crypto fraud. We have people who are going out there and doing some of the same, pyramid scheme type things with crypto, but they're also just clever at the way that they're defrauding people from their crypto. Yeah. And if you go to a general, practitioner right now, they have no clue what you're talking about. If you pull up a public ledger or a private ledger and you say, "Look, here's the evidence," right? You basically have to find the standard for finding the right expert to testify to these issues. Requires someone who has some basic understanding of what the issues are. And I think, not to diss on the Supreme Court, obviously, but I think one of the issues with SCOTUS right now is that they're not able to understand the idea of the public forum doctrine online, right? So they can't envision the fact that Facebook has literally created a public forum upon which, if you don't transact, or if you don't, I never had social media prior to running for office. I mean, I did, but they were all alt accounts, right? They weren't real social media accounts. I built social media just so that I could run for my campaign. I could not be campaigning right now, and I wouldn't be a very effective campaigner. I wouldn't be able to get the bang for my buck and for my supporters' buck if I weren't doing what I'm doing right now with social media. It's just impossible. So if the Supreme Court really understood how the online world worked better, I think we would have much better case precedent. We would be much more up to speed. And that's not a fault in the Constitution. That's a fault in the understanding of the justices and the attorneys who argue these cases.
So now that you're going to be the youngest DA in the known universe, and you bring all of these strengths to the job, which I think are legitimate strengths. Knowledge of IP issues, knowledge of IT issues, knowledge of just social things, like you were talking about. The jokes that were going on in that Depp trial were so funny. I mean, we were just dying at some of the comments, and like you said, they were calling it a win, and it was more than just that one.
Oh, there were so many. Well, okay,
your favorite moment. Okay,
no, this is my favorite moment as an attorney. If you don't mind me just going off topic for a second,
I got a judge.
I almost got a judge to take judicial notice that Tinder was a hookup app and not a dating app. Now,
I think he should have. You were doing the Lord's work there. Nothing like swiping through Tinder and going, no FWB, no one night. What the fuck are you on Tinder for?
And the same thing with Grindr, right? Like, try explaining Grindr to a judge. Try explaining Grindr to your own attorney, right?
Yeah.
These are really pressing issues. My favorite moment, though, in, let's see, Depp-Heard trial, I think the Amica cream, I need to buy some because that Amica cream has superpowers, right? Yeah. Like, it really should be called Deadpool cream because that woman, it didn't matter what happened to her. You just throw some cream on it. It's all better, right?
Yeah.
Like, that to me was the best part.
Oh God. It was, I liked the guy from the trailer park. Just the was it Hicksville Trailer Palace where Johnny Depp had apparently told the woman, do you know how many pounds of pressure it would take to buy? And he's like, oh, it didn't have, and I, it did $62 worth of damage, and I didn't even charge him the piggy fee. I'm going to be back in Utah at the end of July, and it's just kind of, I used to hate Las Vegas, but now I like just to go there for a few days just because. And this Trailer Palace, I just love that name. The Trailer Palace is about 200 miles southwest of Vegas, so I was planning on going there for a night just to say I stayed there. It's like $160 a night for the room. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, please do it. Did you make a reservation? I bet they're selling out now.
Yeah, I haven't yet. See, now I'm depressed because I wanted to be first, but Joe Branca at Law of Self-Defense, he's going there in like 2 weeks. He's on a motorcycle trip.
Joe is butter, right?
Yeah.
Like, he's basically whatever you put him on or whatever he does first, it doesn't matter. He's just the base for someone else to come in and make it better. So just go and enjoy it.
So yeah, I just want to meet the guy. I know he doesn't work there anymore, but he's the dude I could hang out with. I didn't even charge him the piggy fee.
I want to hang out with the artist.
Oh yeah.
His testimony was the best. And that's why I'm thinking Amica cream is because that was his testimony, right?
Yeah.
Well, did you ever see her wear Amica cream?
He laughs.
I don't know what it is. No, like, really, did you see her put it on that morning?
Wait, Andrew, did I say Andrew Branca? I didn't say that, did I?
No, you said Brown. You said Law of Self-Defense.
Yeah, that's Joe Branca. I didn't say Andrew Branca, did I?
Maybe.
If I did, and fuck, it is Andrew, isn't it? Oh, fuck me. They're both Andrews. God damn it.
I just know him as the Law of Self-Defense guy, so.
God damn it. Oh. I'm resigning my position as Legal Vice's dude on YouTube. Oh my God. I don't have dyslexia, but I have like whatever you want to call name confusion and face confusion. If I see someone that I know in a place that I shouldn't be seeing them, I will never recognize them. And names, I get names confused all the damn time.
Like, at least you remember the names, right? Like, I'm going to give you credit. That's a half point.
Yeah, well, I confused until I was about 30. I never correctly identified Al Pacino and the other guy everybody confuses him with, De Niro.
Well, they look the same.
But they don't. They don't look the same. The sounds. There's just something about them that confused me for 30 years.
I swear they look the exact same. Al Pacino.
Okay.
Wait, and who's the other guy?
Al Pacino and Robert De Niro.
De Niro, that's right. De Niro, the total
Meet the Fockers,
praise on little girls. Creep. All right.
Yeah.
Come at me, De Niro.
They
look the same. Come on, they both have it's like
they both have brown hair, and they.
No, it's like me and Nick Rekieta. We're both blessed with the schnoz, so it's got to be that.
God, I'm such an idiot. Okay, now that we've wasted everybody's life unscrewing my head, of course I know it's Andrew Brunk. I don't know where the hell Joe come from. I'm just an idiot.
You were thinking Joe Dirt because you were thinking about trailer parks, and then you were thinking about Andrew, and so Joe came to mind. I'm sure that's what it is.
This is a good delineation. Joe Good Logic, Blue Genie drunk stream called Andrew Legal Mindset. Adam hilarious. If you watch Good Logic at all, there was a stream where he was absolutely out of his mind, like wearing like blue genie. It was at the end of some Jewish holiday, and he and his whole family were just lit. And Nick and Andrew Legal Mindset, they're like on his stream going, "Cut it off, man, cut it off." But then he woke up the next day and leaned so far into it. He's got this whole section up on his channel. That was lit.
I'm going to be looking this up. I love that so much. You know what? When I'm done with this whole campaign thing, even if I win, I'm going to set up a YouTube channel, and I'm totally going to do I actually agree with Nick. There should be a camera in every single courtroom.
Well, that was my very next question. Why?
Oh, easy, because it's already open to the public. It's already public. So why not actually be transparent and let the public come in? Because, we talk in prosecution all the time about why we prosecute. One of the reasons is for vengeance, right? We want vengeance. We want retribution to be owned by the state. Because if not, we're going to have situations like in Florida where this guy was a repeat child sex offender, and the judge gave him a very light sentence. I don't think he got any jail time. I think he ended up just going straight on to parole. And he got credit for some time served. Well, the judge wakes up the next morning, opens the door, and he finds the guy's head on his porch without the body. So, that's what will happen if we don't allow the public to find retribution in the justice system. And I think that there's something very powerful for the accused as well, to be able to clear their name like Johnny Depp was, right? Imagine had he not raised his voice. Imagine had he just not gone through this trial, he wouldn't have a career. Well, he unfortunately is in the same spot as a lot of men who are accused of very heinous crimes, who, even though they are cleared, it doesn't matter because no one was at the trial. No one heard the evidence. All they heard was, the PR. They heard the news. They heard, all these horrible things about this guy. And you can't compete with that, especially as a private citizen, right? You don't have a platform, and now you've been deplatformed by everyone and their dog. I think it's vital to make sure that these cases are public so that the public has an interest in them and the public knows what's actually happening. The news can't go and spin it however they want. PR teams can't go in and spin it however they want. I think the OJ trials case is, indicative of what happens if we don't have live stream, right? Where people can watch the entire case start to finish, all the objections, see what the jury is seeing at a minimum. We don't have to see the jury's faces, but we should see what the jury is seeing.
I completely agree with it. And that's, I mean, I think that's basically, as you said, we have a right to be in the courtroom. We just can't physically, logistically go to a particular courtroom. We have the right to do it if we can, if there's seating available, if there's room available, and if we want to travel.
Right.
So why not make it accessible? I mean, there's YouTube, anyway, stream it somewhere.
Well, and more than that, we have to be able to hold judges accountable, right? So in the state of Utah, we can't really recall a judge, but we just don't vote for them again. And then the governor can go and appoint someone else, basically. So we can, in a sense, do a recall by just saying we don't like this judge. Well, how can you say you don't like the judge if you know nothing about the judge, if you haven't seen the judge in trial, if you haven't seen a judge look down on a little old lady who, stole gas via, not paying at the pump, and he's sending her to jail and she's sitting there like, I'm so sorry, right?
Yeah.
How can you hold your DA accountable? How can you hold the judge accountable? How can you hold the police accountable? There was a case down in American Fork, I believe.
American Fork.
American Fork.
American Fork, yeah.
The bailiff walks by and just steals a file right off the defense attorney's table and walks out. Just walks out of the courtroom, was best friends with the prosecutor.
Well, that shouldn't
Yeah.
happen.
And that was caught on security camera. I think it was American Fork. I may be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that happened in American Fork. The FBI ended up investigating it. I mean, these cases do and are happening, but people aren't seeing it. And that's another thing is how can people have faith in the justice system if it's not transparent to them and they don't see what's actually happening? So.
Oh, that's not. Penny, that wasn't the one. I was going for the one above it. The Michael Malloy Spanish FARC. Now, are you saying Spanish FARC from knowledge, or are you just parroting us? Because anybody that knows anybody from Spanish FARC, we have a thing in Utah where like the word ignorant has only one vowel. It's the I. It's ignorant.
Ignorant.
Don't be ignorant. And
mountain.
O's and A's get reversed. Yeah, mountain.
Mountain, fountain.
Yeah.
Heel and hill.
Yeah.
Hill and hill.
And I like the switching that we do with the A and the O's. Like you say, you're barn in a barn. Gotta go out to the barn and feed the horses. American FARC. That's a
little more of a Logan thing, I feel like. But what we do is we do filled and field. Filled and filled.
Yeah.
Oh, I went out to the field.
Yeah.
And the crick. The crick is a Southern Utah thing I hear a lot.
We have cricks up in Logan too.
Oh, do you? I'm sorry I can't see the live chat. I wish I had thought this out and done a dual screen.
Well, it's about a minute delay. I'm trying to get
fun ones. Feel free.
Well, let's see. We've Meredith Deals. Thank you so much. Does she identify with a party? That's your choice to answer or not.
Identify with party. Is that like a
political
sexual
party.
Orientation?
A political party, I believe.
Not
like a woo,
okay.
Let's go for a party. Yeah, I identify with raves.
I'm an EDM fan. So I am the Republican nominee. So I am a Republican. I've always been a Republican, but more than a Republican, I am a constitutionalist. So there you go.
Well, Utah has a really interesting thing. Being a ridiculously conservative state, it'll be a cold day in hell before any electoral college votes ever go for a Democratic presidential nominee. But we have a huge history of electing Democratic governors.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting.
I mean, Utah people are very nice, right? They're very nice people. And I think that they tend to get tricked into thinking that some policies are nice, right? Rather than being kind. Mm-hmm. Kindness and niceness are different. Niceness is, acting a certain way, acting nice, right? It's an aesthetic. It's the way you're perceived. Whereas kindness means I want to watch the trial. Like, I hope she doesn't plea out so that we can actually see.
No, that's kind of what I was saying last night. And then,
and maybe it's because, I do feel that prosecutors and some attorneys, if you like justice,
Mhm.
there is that element of Schadenfreude, right? Collective Schadenfreude, where it's like, yes, like I can't wait to see this person go to jail forever. And as that,
Yeah.
you know, builds, it feels much better.
Already read that one. Sorry. Keep going. I was just like burning through these here. Thank you, Mary A. That is so generous. Appreciate it. Sig Sauer. I love my women like my chicken unbreaded.
I am I am unbreaded.
Are you drinking vices? Good God. It's like 12:30. I have a cup of coffee here. Come on.
Is it just a cup of coffee?
Yeah. But it's Memorial Day here in Korea, so it's a day off on a Monday. So I just chilling at home.
Aw.
Get to be domestic and clean the house and wash clothes and things later. How domestic of me. The Michael Malley Show, Spanish Fart. We already read that one. What am I doing? Oh God. Okay, here. Okay, Whipplefish, which I love this nickname. I'm gonna flash this up, and this is my one huge Utah linguistic trigger point. Milk versus milk.
Oh,
that is such a Utah thing. Milk. And eggs.
or
Milk.
supposed to.
Yeah, you're
Supposed to instead of supposed to.
Milk versus milk is my personal trigger point. I don't know why, but that's just fingernails on a chalkboard to me linguistically.
Mine is pillow instead of pillow.
Same thing, same vowel.
Yes, and we do it here. I've heard people say it. They're like, "Oh, I got some rest on my pillow."
Hello. Yeah. 6 hour legal vices, Lafroig or Lagavulin. These days I'm into the Lagavulin scotch. But Lafroig is back there on the shelf as well. I do not discriminate against whiskey. I'll drink it all, especially if you buy it for me. Free whiskey is the best kind of whiskey. Dave Baker Outdoors. Is she into soft swinging? Oh my God, that whole thing there in Utah. What's up with that? Okay, like I tell everybody, if my hometown of Logan, or in particular my home state, ever makes the Korean news, it's not for a good reason. If anybody knows if anybody knows the existence of Logan, Utah, or Utah in Korea, it's never for a good reason. This whole Utah County thing, man,
It's not Utah County. It's not just Utah County. Let me tell you, I've had clients, and it is very much a Salt Lake County thing too. As a matter of fact, speaking of psychopathic women, I had a client where the opposing party claimed that their spouse was using their pictures that they had advertised on a swingers group as revenge porn. Totally lied to the court, said this was revenge porn. This was to, to make me look bad and yada, yada. And I, because of my ability to sleuth the internet, I did a little bit of research, and no, this woman was selling herself online via her husband.
Of course, I would just do research too. So yeah, good for you. So
Oh no, trust me, I saw things that I can't unsee. There's not enough research. Trust me, this was not a professional site. It was amateur hour. Let's put it that way.
Moving right along. Meredith Gill would be reluctant to find an appropriate punishment if he decided to prosecute. Let's leave that there.
He refuses to prosecute.
Yeah.
He refuses to screen cases. Only 35% of all sexual assault cases that have been referred to the prosecutor's office have even been formally screened.
How is that even possible?
You just don't look at your emails, I guess. I think it was a pushback because in 2018, Judge Paul Cassell helped to get some legislation passed where if there's a declination letter on a sexual assault case, because there were so many cases that were declined, that if a declination letter came out, that the victim could then appeal the review of the case to the AG's office and have the AG prosecute. So, I mean, he just stopped reviewing cases. You can't have a declination letter if you just don't look.
Good point.
It's disgusting.
The Michael Malloy Show, Ted Bundy, Jeffrey Dahmer, Charles Manson, Jodi Arias, all bad. Okay. Let me tell you, here's my Ted Bundy story. I have two personal Ted Bundy stories.
Did you go to school with him, or was that?
Oh God, I'm not that old. Jesus, he was.
I don't know.
He was executed when I was in like 6th grade.
Oh, I don't know.
But it's not too far off the point. One of my best friends in my entire life was dating this girl back in college, and we were just having this random comment after they broke up, and it was several years later. I'm like, whatever happened to that one girl? Oh yeah, that one girl. God, you'd think I'd be able to remember her name. Ted Bundy killed her mother. And I went, what? And so we had this whole big long discussion. That was number one, but number two, in law school, I'm sure he was probably deceased by the time you got there. My property law professor was the most ancient person in the universe. He began teaching law in 1939.
Who was he?
I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but he was ancient.
It wasn't Professor Lund, because Lund teaches torts, and he's
Lund was my torch.
God,
oh man. He wasn't when I was there. He was a fine young man.
Really? I can't even imagine. He used to tease. He would like sexually harass all the girls, and it was hilarious. Like
Tommy Tort.
Oh, he was so funny. He was like, if Danielle bends over and kisses me, and I, in a state of shock, I run over, 6 people, what's the result? I mean, he is hilarious.
Well, and for the people in my chat that hear me, I constantly refer to the jurors as the 12 ignorant slobs. That was a Tommy Tort term. Tommy Tort would always, for a third of the recovery, how are you going to argue to the 12 ignorant slobs?
Every woman was a bitch. Every man was a dick. It wasn't Richard Epstein who wrote the book. It was Dick. I mean, he's a funny guy. Super, super funny. He would regularly throw things at students. I mean, you guys want to talk about a character for a law school movie? He's that character.
I'm trying to. He also taught water law.
But yeah, Tommy Torts, he got me through my 1L year, because 1L is hard, to say the least. It's basically take a bunch of really insecure kindergarteners, mix them with a bunch of high schoolers, and then tell them to beat each other. That's what 1L year was a little bit like.
Oh God, I can't find the guy's name again. But yeah, he started teaching law in 1939, and he had. And I was in law school in 1996. I graduated in 96. So 93 through 96, I was there. And I mean, he started teaching law before World War II started. And he was such this he was such this expert on water law that literally the U.S. Supreme Court justices would call him for advice on water law cases, which is a big thing in Utah. But
it is.
I guess he was also on the acceptance committee, and this man had the most amazing steel trap mind you've ever seen. Day one of law school, he's going down the seating chart, and he's like, "Oh, so and so, was your mother so and so? Yeah, I remember teaching her. And oh, are you related to so and so? Oh yeah, that's your dad. I taught him." Gets to one person, he's like, "So and so, is this your father?" She's like, "No." "Oh, that's my grandfather." She taught one of my law students' grandfather's law.
Oh my gosh.
And then I was kind of sitting in the back corner, and this was property law, but so he goes, "Jeff." I'm like, "Yes." He goes, "Congratulations." I'm like, "What?" He goes, "You're sitting in Ted Bundy's chair." So in my property law class, I sat in Ted Bundy's chair.
That's nice.
So that's my tie to Ted Bundy. Our ass shared the same chair at the University of Utah College of Law.
Oh, hey, quick shout out to anybody who's doing super chats or chats in general. If you want to give money directly to me, you have to go to that link, daforda.com, and you can contribute to my campaign there. If you would like, of course, to help Legal Vices, who's been generous enough to host this episode and have me on, please just generously donate. Give him all your money. Take out your wallet. Show him how much you love him. Shower him in cash.
I'll take a like and a subscribe. But yeah, the grift is real. Grift away, Danny. Go ahead.
He's one of the most brilliant legal minds on YouTube.
Oh yeah, well now we're just off into just lying categories, but
Can't be matched. No, there's a legal term for it. It's called, I just said for it instead of for it.
Yeah.
For it. There's a legal term for what I am doing. It's called puffery.
It is.
It's called
not fluffery, it's puffery.
Puffery. It's the Supreme Court word.
Satrack, is there really special Mormon underwear? Let's just say it's in the same way that Catholic priests wear special clothing for them. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Same diff. Meredith, thank you again for yet another donation. Gil will be your elected file. We already did that one. Sorry. You get it twice. You got a 2-for-1 there. Quick run, $10. Thank you so much. Danny, what do you think can be done to curb the crazy amount of wrong way DUI drivers? I don't know what that means. Also, your thoughts on the homelessness problem. You Salt Lake, does it still have a huge homeless problem?
It's gotten worse.
Oh God.
It's gotten worse. So
Liberty Park was unavailable to human beings when I was there.
It's gotten better. So we had Operation Rio Grande, which kind of touched Liberty Park, kind of helped, but not really. It was really just a clown show. The police didn't do anything wrong. It was the DA's office. So basically, they rounded up all these homeless people, brought them in on all kinds of different warrants and charges and whatever, sent them to jail. Some of them went to like some mental health hospitals. Most of them went to jail for the night and then were just displaced. They just put them somewhere else in the valley. And then we used to have a homeless shelter out in Salt Lake City, and that was also shut down, and they are now dispersed throughout the valley.
Really? The one out by the other park?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think it's Pioneer. Yeah, no. Pioneer Park. Pioneer Park. I mean, Liberty was bad. Pioneer Park, I mean, you wouldn't go within 3 blocks of Pioneer Park.
I mean, it's still pretty much that way now.
Wow.
Pioneer Park, North Temple, Ballpark, all of those areas, I've met with every one of those communities, and they are suffering. Wow. Truly suffering with the lack of prosecution, the lack of accountability. As far as the homelessness problem and what to do, so that was a 2-part question. Yeah. Wrong way DUIs.
Yeah.
You arrest them and you charge them accordingly. That's the best that you can do. Since we changed the laws, I'm sure you're aware, we changed the law to allow for like full percentage beers, but we've lowered the DUI standard. So if you're caught with Listerine in your pocket, you're done, right?
What is it now? 0.05?
I think it's, someone has to correct me. It's been a minute since I've looked. I think it's 0.05. That sounds right.
Yeah, because Korea just recently lowered it to 0.03.
Okay.
I mean, you don't even want to use breath spray within 100 yards of a testing point here. It's 0.03 here now. Yeah.
Yeah. Basically, Utah's the same way. But in terms of what we can do for homelessness, a main thing is mental health treatment. And this is outside of the scope of DA, right? We're now looking at, we're looking at serious policy and public policy concerns that are outside of my scope. But I will say I'm a huge advocate for what they have in Korea, which is you can go to the hospital and check yourself out midday, go to work, and then go back to the hospital. I don't know if you've seen this, but when I first went to Korea, I thought there was a zombie apocalypse or something, because I just saw people walking around in scrubs with like an IV hanging in their arm.
Oh, yeah.
And they're just walking around outside like it's totally normal. And they're like smoking a cigarette. And
you get out of your hospital bed and drag your IV out down to the local chicken shack and now to hang out and smoke and drink. And
and like you can pay $50 and have your family member stay with you in the hotel, in the hospital, and they feed you decent food. But like, so I would like to see something similar here with mental health treatment, specifically with postpartum depression. Mothers need a place to go to put their kids where they're safe, but where they're not going to be locked away for 3 days. And the same thing with people who are suicidal here in Utah. I think we would see a significant decrease in suicides. Sorry, I need to drink some water. My voice is still going. But we would see a significant decrease in suicides if we had outpatient mental health care facilities that followed up with patients.
Meredith again says, I used to live in Brigham City, but now I'm in. Anyone not from Utah pronounce that last word?
I want to hear someone else pronounce it. Mary, don't tell him.
Anybody just phoneticize how you would pronounce that last word. This is just a random, again, my ADHD taking us totally off track.
What are some of the answers?
Close. Satrat comes in first with 2L. That's pretty close, actually. Now, see, Michael, you just ruined it. Michael Malloy, 2E. Okay, 2E, no. But it is Tooele. So, Tool, yeah. Thule is one that you get a lot from out-of-staters.
I like Tooele. That's the fun way of seeing it.
Yeah, so yeah, it's Tooele. We got a lot of the names in Utah are based on Native American populations and people and places. So there's a lot. Yeah, and the Book of Mormon. Yeah, there's a lot of names that are incredibly difficult. Yes, there is an Army depot there. Other than the CDC, that is where all of the really, really super dangerous bugs that even the CDC doesn't want around them, because there's nobody in Tooele out of the Dugway Proving Grounds.
Okay, so Dugway Proving Ground, they have agent or they have mustard gas there, and they have like all kinds of horrible things there. I think it was mustard gas that went missing. Like they couldn't find it. And then it showed up in South Korea. They found it in a base in South Korea. And we're like, were you guys missing your mustard gas?
Yeah. And I mean, it's a serious like zombie apocalypse thing. Like we're talking about, the streets in Tooele have these sirens that are like the holy shit, something has got out of our laboratory sirens. And every now and then, like, somebody downwind will have a few hundred sheep die, and there's obviously no logical explanation from the government as to what happened. But Dugway Proving Grounds is a really interesting place. It is literally in the middle of absolutely nowhere.
Well, I'll tell you, I have seen weird stuff out there. Like my brother, he lives out in Eagle Mountain, which is just south of Dugway.
Wow.
And when's the last time you've been out here to Utah?
It was 2019, May.
Okay, well, Eagle Mountain has exploded. I don't know when's the last time you've been out there. It is
20 years ago, and there was like 6 houses.
Oh yeah, no, it is packed now. It is like from Lehigh all the way out to Eagle Mountain, just rows and rows and rows of development for as far as the eye can see. And but my brother was in one of those 6 houses a long time ago. Wow. And we would go out on our ATVs at night and watch, like, I'm not going to say UFOs because I'm running for DA, but there were objects in the sky. And I'm a pilot. My brother's a pilot. So we know what certain planes look like. We know what things look like at night. These things did not look normal. They did not behave normally. And that Dugway Proving Ground, it's not just Dugway Proving Ground. People think of Area 51. Area 51 is the name of a proving ground. So there's Area 51, there's Area 50, Area 48, Area 42. Yeah. Dugway Proving Ground is one of those areas.
And it's not that, you give it what, 300 miles from Area 51?
Yeah, maybe 300 due north, actually. Probably exactly north of Area 51. Because if you go out to Rachel, no, not due north, because then you would end up a little bit further west of Dugway. Yeah. I mean,
Tooele is very, very close to the Nevada border.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really cool. You guys definitely come out to Utah. Don't move here. It's overcrowded. People won't like you. It's a horrible place to live. Of course, it's just there's no affordable housing. So I'm trying to stem the flow of like California refugees. I'm like, stay in your state. We don't want you.
Let's clear a few more. Okay, we already did that one. You live out in Tooele. You are the Tooele expert. Carlos Estrada, thank you very much. Look up Drunken Post Purim with Legal Mindset for Jeannie Joe Neerman. Yeah, the Drunken Post Purim, yeah.
I'm writing it down. That's too funny.
Well, that was that, and I just love that he just leaned into it. I mean, he's saying it's okay. It's the genie is out of the bottle, so to speak. May as well just lean straight into it and make some cash off of it.
Well, why not? Like if I was if I was like a law YouTuber, I would be the most
Yeah.
ridiculous law tuber. You know what I would do? I would actually go into classified documents and be like the Alex Jones of the law YouTube world. No one's done it yet. I'm just thinking like if you're gonna grift and you're gonna make money,
Yeah.
that's the smart way to do it.
And Michael Malloy shows us, I was born in Salt Lake City, Utah at LDS Hospital. LDS went on a mission for 2 years. I live in Oregon. Now my brother went to BYU in Provo. I love this channel. Well, thank you for
Aw.
enjoying being with this particular lapsed person.
Oh, that's awesome. Good to hear from you, brother.
Utah is an awesome, is seriously an awesome place. I love telling people about it because like there's so much to do there.
Oh yeah.
It's you can be in a forest, go 2 hours and be on a glacier, and then go 2 hours and be dune buggying in the sand dunes. You can do it all there.
And it's gorgeous. Like even our deserts are one of a kind. I've been all over the US. I've traveled to every single state except for Maine and Alaska.
Wow.
And I will tell you, there is nothing like Utah. Our red deserts here are just so vibrant and so special. And our mountains are breathtaking and our people are good. I mean, we really are a good people. We love people. So of course, please come. It's amazing. Yes, that's correct.
Yep.
Whipple fish.
Well, there's Dugway is where the Enola Gay, which dropped one of the bombs, was on Japan, was stationed. And if it's still there, out in Wendover is the museum for the Enola Gay. If it's still there, or is I mean, or maybe it's out. Like it's been so long since I've been over that area. Maybe it's in Dugway. There's an Enola Gay museum out there, if it's still there. But yep, that was where it was at. And Con Air was filmed out in that area, in the desert scene in Con Air. That was.
Did anyone else here watch? I think it's called the Philadelphia Project.
Yes, Philadelphia
I
Experiment.
love that. Yeah, that was it. I love that movie as a kid, and I'll never forget that scene where he ends up being teleported to out to the Great Salt Lake. I was like, every time we would drive by, I was like, da-da-da, da-da-da. Like I thought it was so cool.
The first movie where I ever learned about film editing was Dolph Lundgren and Jean-Claude Van Damme in Universal Soldier. There was
I
this.
haven't seen that.
Oh, it's 80s.
Shame me. No, go ahead. Shame me.
It's
fine.
1980s. It was 1980s. So you had no reason to see this film. But there was this great set. They're like all these like genetically enhanced soldiers, and Dolph was a rogue one. But there was this gigantic semi-truck chase where the semi-truck is racing across the salt flats, and then there's like a big gaping gorge, which was down south with the big lake we got down there in the south that is apparently drying up as we speak. But it's one of these where you're racing across the salt flats, and then you get to this giant drop off into the lake, and the semi slides sideways and almost goes over the ledge, and you're thinking those places are about 400 miles from each other.
Well, in the sand is red. Like the cliffs are
Yeah.
red. So I don't know how you make that mistake. So for those who don't know, he's talking about Lake Powell and the salt flats. And the salt flats are up here in Salt Lake City. Lake Powell is down near Page, Arizona. It's down in the middle of nowhere, just around the Four Corners. That is so funny. I'm gonna have to watch this now. Yeah,
and you just they have they're out on the on Lake Mead, out on the dam down there, and that's when I realized, okay, maybe they don't really just film these in one long take. Maybe I remember just being crushed, going, "Oh my God, they're lying to the people."
I'll never forget that moment happened for me with the movie Gattaca. So I was maybe
okay. I'm curious to hear this story.
Maybe 7. So I was maybe 7 or 8, and I remember watching Gattaca, and he's like, there's that scene where the scientist self-emulates, and I was like, oh my gosh, he died, and I don't know why. But for like the first time in my life, I thought, oh wait, he didn't actually die.
I've seen him in something else. Yeah.
This is all made up. Like And I thought to myself, well, the reason I bring it up though is because I thought to myself, wow, the flames look really real. Yep. I wonder how they filmed it.
Yeah. There's a big long list of films that were made in Utah here. Footloose, Sandlot. Yeah, there's a bunch.
Footloose, you can still go down to Lehigh and actually go into the granary where they filmed the scene of him dancing in the warehouse.
Movies aren't real. Oh, SLC Punk was great. Movies aren't real. What about SLC Punk? I'm not aware of SLC Punk. What am I missing here?
Do we not have any Disney fans mentioning High School Musical?
Oh, that was filmed in Utah?
Mm-hmm. That was filmed in Bountiful for the high school scenes. And then when they're dancing at the pool and stuff like that, that's all done down in St. George.
I don't care about Utah. I live on the East Coast.
Okay. Well, we don't care about the East Coast. Tough cookies. No, I actually, where on the East Coast do you live? Because I used to live in Virginia. I like Virginia.
Well, only movie I can think of filmed in NC was the first Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles live action film.
I didn't even know that they filmed movies there at all.
Oh, see, now I'm gonna have to see this movie. I have literally never heard of SLC Punk. SLC Punk, I'm all over it.
You should pull up a clip. I'm really curious what it's about.
I'm scared. This is my chat.
I'm fearless. I say we do it.
Oh God! All right, let's see what happened. SLC Punk, you say?
You guys better not be trolling us, because otherwise I might have to hop off.
SLC Punk.
Look at Legal Vices for the rest of the night. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but
oh my.
Never mind.
No, it's trailer.
Oh, Trolls 2 was filmed in Utah too.
What?
For any cult classic fans, that was filmed here.
Wow, that also I did not know. Okay, the preview has been approved for all audiences. Thank you, Motion Picture Association of America. I feel less scared than I was a minute ago. Oh, but now, by the way, before we get into that, Napoleon Dynamite. Napoleon Dynamite.
It's one of the most accurate movies. I thought it was a documentary.
Oh, no shit, like no shit.
I didn't know it was a joke.
I remember when the movie came out, there was a newspaper article it was like the New York Times or the Post, or I mean, one of these big shot, we know better than you, East Coast. They were saying, this show is just a shame. It's just exploiting and making fun of the lower class. It's just, it's degrading. And I'm thinking, that's like my fucking Tuesday night watching this movie.
I'm like, give me your tots. Like, that is the most Utah comment ever. Like the creepy uncle down in the basement, like getting like a photo shoot by a girl who's clearly not qualified. Like the driving with like some SA from down the road on this.
The guy who would have been pro, but the coach hated him.
I mean, meeting a girl online, having her come on a bus all the way across the country, having like all of it. Like, you guys don't even know, having a llama in your backyard. It's a total thing. Like, Johnny Depp would be the happiest man here in Utah.
I could pull up a picture of my neighbor's llamas right now on my computer. And that was filmed in Preston and Franklin, Idaho, which is like 10 miles north of the Utah border. And in the chicken farm scene where they're all drinking the raw eggs and things, that's a thing I did as a Mormon kid. We cleaned out freaking church chicken coops. I couldn't eat eggs for years after that because just the ammonia chicken smell. But in that scene, if the camera would have panned about 2 inches to the left, you would have seen my aunt's house.
Shut up.
Yeah, my aunt lived there in Franklin, and that was just down the street from her house. No, Napoleon Dynamite was absolutely, as you said, it was a documentary of me growing up in the 80s. That was just it. The boondoggle stuff. Oh, jeez.
Oh, the boondoggles. I thought about doing that in my campaign, like having them hand out like the little friendship bracelets and stuff and be like, vote for Dani. All of your wildest dreams will come true. Like, I feel like that would be epic, but like,
and just do it deadpan too.
Yeah, just vote for Dani and all of your wildest dreams will come true. Right. And like, I want that. And I also kind of want to do the dance at the end, the little moon boot dance, or like that scene where he like falls in love with sign language. You guys, if you ever need a sign interpreter, just come here to Utah. I will find you a sign interpreter. Every single girl I know learns sign language, goes to BYU to marry her husband, of who she'll have like 6 kids with, and then like studies child development and child psychology in college. I mean, this is just par for the course. I love it. I love it so much. And like, it's such an endearing movie. It's not making fun of. I feel like it's just laughing with. Does that make sense?
To me, yeah.
Like, it doesn't feel like they're making fun of the culture. They're just showcasing the absurdity of the culture, because it is absurd.
And I think this is more a U.S. thing. Creed M says, I'm from Europe, going to American college in Europe. I was in a class with a girl from Utah, and she used to put cream in Diet Coke and swore it was a thing people did in Utah. True or BS? True. Cream sodas.
Cream sodas, 100%. So in any other state, we have our vices, right? We have alcohol. We have all kinds of different vices. Here in Utah, the predominant religion is Mormon. So we are not allowed to drink alcohol or tea. And some have interpreted no caffeine. Well, that interpretation went out the door really quick, because Brigham Young himself had Brigham's tea, which was very much I don't know, it's ephedrine, basically. It's a form of ephedrine. So all of these things have compiled over time, and basically caffeine is now allowed. But more than anything, what is absolutely allowed and a vice of Utah is sugar. The state is just bathed in sugar. So we have soda fountains, like old school soda fountains. Sodalicious, that's a Utah brand. I'm pretty sure all of these soda shops that you hear about, where you can drive up and they have absurd mixtures of sodas with like syrups and cream and whipped cream. And here, let's put some slush in there. All of that comes from Utah, 100%. We've got to get our fix somehow, and it's the sugar.
I believe at one point Utah had the highest per capita fast food restaurants of any state in the nation. Yeah,
I have zero doubt. That sounds right.
Now, as far as 2 Utah foods, anybody that ever goes through Logan, Utah on Highway 89 needs to stop at Utah State University and have Aggie ice cream. The best, hands down ice cream you will ever have in your entire life. That's my trip from the Salt Lake City airport is to go to Ogden, hit In-N-Out Burger in Ogden, drive through Fruit Heights in Brigham City, maybe pick up a Peach Pit Burger on the other side, go into town, drive straight to the campus, and have a big ass ice cream cone from Aggie Ice Cream. Now, the second thing, which is just Utah. I've never seen it anywhere else. Nobody believes me when I say this. Fry sauce.
Mm-hmm.
Fry sauce is a thing. What the hell is fry sauce? It is nothing more than ketchup and mayonnaise mixed together. That's just it.
Hold on. Anybody who has gone to Chick-fil-A, okay, which I call it Chick-fil-A. I know it's Chick-fil-A, whatever. Chick-fil-A. Yeah. If you go there, you get the special sauce. All it is mayonnaise, a little bit of ketchup, barbecue sauce, and maybe a little bit of mustard. That's it. They blend it together. That's your special sauce.
Yeah. Fry sauce sucks. No, fry sauce is the bomb, man. Fry sauce is the bomb.
Take it back. Who said that?
French dressing has vinegar in it. This is just straight up ketchup and mayonnaise, mixed up.
Who said it sucked? Bring back their chat. I need to curse them. Bring it back.
Where'd we go? I can't find it again.
Okay.
Mormons are Amish. No. Fry. It's got to be around here somewhere.
Whoever said fry sauce sucks, I curse you this day. I curse you with. You ready? I curse you with mildly uncomfortable underwear waistband lines for the next 3 weeks. That is my curse upon you.
That'll do it. Does Utah have McDonald's? Oh yeah, we've got about 5 billion McDonald's.
Every corner.
Now, see, we do this thing in like there's different restaurants that have different good items, and like I was just saying, Utah has so many fast food restaurants, and especially going up the street to University of Utah, the big main drag. Was that 4th South or
Yeah, 400 South.
It's just a line of fast food restaurants, and the best things in the world are McDonald's French fries.
Yes.
Burger King's burgers, Arctic Circle, which is the deal at the Arctic Circle shakes. Their shakes are so good.
Really?
Yeah.
I was going to say iceberg shakes are incredible. Those are my favorite.
I have never heard of iceberg. Write this down on my things to do when I get back to Utah.
Sacrilege.
Iceberg. Okay.
Sacrilege. Yeah, icebergs. Go to icebergs. It will change your life.
All right. We used to do that going up to law school. We'd just like hit one or the other. We'd go grab our fries from McDonald's, the burger from Burger King, the shake from Arctic Circle, and get some mashed potatoes and gravy from KFC and go up to the park and eat it.
That sounds like heaven.
Because they're right next to each other. You just choose the best of all the restaurants. And it's
you were living the good life, my friend.
Yeah. We during law school study times for the bar exam, we kept a Golden Corral in business and Chuck Wagon. Chuck Wagon and Golden Corral. We just sit there until we got kicked out.
My husband was such an angel. He cooked for
yes.
for me and my friends every time.
Yes, everyone in Utah is fat, me included.
Yeah. No, it is. Actually, I think we're one of the most in shape states in the nation, but we have like one of the highest rates of diabetes as well. So, yes.
Well, I mean, this might be a serious topic, but sort of takes us back into this. I don't know if it's still the case, but Utah used to have the highest prescription drug abuse rate in the country. Mm-hmm. I don't know if it's still that way. I mean, how do you see that developing? I mean, what's
it's complicated is the first. I mean, that's my natural response, right? It's very complicated because although I would love to be really, really tough on prescription drug abuse, it's difficult because we already have a DEA is already on top of it. It is so hard for chronic pain patients who are already chronically ill to get the pain medicine that they need. They can't switch to a different pharmacy. They can't switch, doctors without getting pre-approval from the state. I mean, it's very challenging. Medical marijuana is legal here, but there's the way that the statute is written, you basically have to not qualify for any other type of pain relief. So even if the medical marijuana might be helpful in some ways to a patient, it obviously isn't helpful in all ways, right? But you can't supplement with actual painkillers. And then we have an issue with kids getting a hold of their parents' painkillers. And there's annexes, and they have what are called pill popping parties, where they'll just take all the pills, throw them in a bucket for funsies, and then grab them and just take them. So that's a serious problem here. And we have to crack down on it, but it has to be smart legislation. And again, that's outside of the realm of what I can do as DA. That's up to your state legislature. You should talk to them.
Okay, Stay Strong says, well, I tried one legal question before decided super chats. Usually I like to give some of the after the 30% YouTube take. So I must have missed something here. Stay Strong. What did you ask? Ask it again. I must have missed something.
Stay strong. I like your hair if that's actually you.
STFU, FFS. I take that personally. When you can't smoke a joint, you pop a pill, right? Do you ever see marijuana being legalized in Utah?
We tried. There was a ballot initiative to make it legalized. I think the difficulty that you have is that you have people ascribing marijuana, right, to there's a connection in their minds between marijuana and hardcore drugs like, heroin, ecstasy, frankly, MDMA, right? There are serious drugs that will mess you up. And people tend to put, oh, it's okay, I'm tired.
No, ask the question. I literally didn't see it.
We're watching. So there are more serious drugs that are a huge problem here. And Utah is a gateway for drug dealers. So we'll pull people over and we're still getting tons and tons of marijuana in people's cars. And I don't know if legalization will necessarily stop the black market or the off market sale of drugs. My issue is less so focused on the drugs as much as on the dealing, the addiction, and all the other crime that comes with it, right? Stealing from mom's purse in order to pay your drug habit, murdering somebody who, came into your territory, prostituting, human trafficking. I mean, it's just a really dark, dark world. And so sometimes it's better to prosecute the drugs just so that you have enough evidence to bring them into trial, and then go after, through discovery, the other charges that you would like to bring. So,
well, again, that's the thing we talk about a bit here. I mean, Korea, drugs are drugs are drugs are drugs. There literally is no differentiation to speak of between anything. Marijuana,
right.
Crack cocaine, they're both illegal. They're both drugs, and you're both going down hard for them. It's not something, as I always tell people, if you can't not do, smoke marijuana, do edibles or whatever, don't come here.
Yeah.
It will end badly.
Yeah. You will go to jail for life in Korea, and they don't play games there at all.
It's a bad situation. Yeah, you can look for 6 years. I mean, just for testing positive, basically. But it's not something you want to do.
Yeah, Korea has very strong borders, so it's there's not really like a drug trade going on. If there is a drug trade, it's absolutely connected to the triads, to larger drug organizations outside of Korea, not just whatever Gangbyeol Yanghachi is there. So,
well, I think Stay Strong has left us. I didn't see the question. Sorry about that. Seriously, I just didn't.
Did any of the other chatters see it?
I guess they're gone now, so it doesn't really matter what the answer is, huh? Sorry. All right. Oh, Stay Strong. Here we are. Oh God. Oh, you didn't have to give that much to answer your damn question. God, you don't even have to do a super chat. Just say it. Oh God.
No, they do.
Okay.
We're no good low down money grabbers. Give us $5 and up. That's it.
Difficult to get an appeal. Can appeal be denied? Not how many times can a case be refuted? Well, you can decline to take an appeal. If there's no grounds for an appeal, the judge will say there's no grounds for an appeal. And it's like interesting here in Korea, ordinarily your appeal is based on errors of law. The judge there had to be a legal error made. But here in Korea, you can appeal on issues of fact. The appellate courts retry the facts of the case as well. So that's one big difference between here and there. But yeah, if the Supreme Court denies appeals all the time. They get so many applications to have so many cases. The vast majority of their cases are rejected. They refuse to take it for whatever reasons they have. Any other comments you want to make on that, Dani?
No, that was perfect. Oh, rehashing cases. Did you hear about this case? I don't remember all of the case perfectly, but I recall that there was a double jeopardy issue. And I want to say that the case came out of either somewhere in the Midwest, came up to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court said, no, it wasn't a violation of double jeopardy because it came through a different jurisdiction. Something to that effect. But in terms of retrying a case, infinity is the answer, basically. As long as you have the money to do it, you can keep going back. You have infinity, and then you also have to have a very, very creative lawyer to bring different arguments and legal strategy, because otherwise you're going to get hit with sanctions.
A very creative lawyer like candidate Dani Ahn. Do you think? Asks Stay Strong. You're still here. Thank you so much for sticking around. I thought I offended you and you ran away from me. Do you think that getting help for those addicted instead of persecuting them or prosecuting them while still prosecuting drug dealing? Yes. What is the in-facility treatment like in Utah? I'm not aware of.
It's not great. There's a joke amongst parolees and ex-cons who all say the same thing. If they had to choose between state prison and county, they would choose state. If they had to choose between county and a mental health hospital, they'd choose county. The same is very true of drug and rehab facilities. It's very difficult to treat people who, and it's difficult to treat them in jail. A lot of people get access to their drugs in jail as well. But we have to do something. I think that there are some conditions that work. There's some conditions that don't, right? The last situation that you want is to put someone on parole with parole conditions where they're visiting a counselor twice a week or once a week, and their parole officer where they have to pee in a cup twice a week and keep a job and somehow stay off drugs and, move into an apartment after spending the last 6 months of their lives in jail next to Bob, who's psycho, right? Like, that's all a lot to throw on an individual with the time constraints, right? So finding good programs that work is very challenging. So that's why, for me, my priority is to go after dealers, is to go after, all of the other things connected to that, right? Because there's only so much a DA can do. There really is only so much a DA can do. I can't go and stop people from being addicted. I can't go and stop people from a lot of the vices that people have. And addiction is a very serious issue that's outside of the scope, in my opinion, of the DA's job. The DA's job is to move forward with the case and make a very clear recommendation to the judge based on the way that the legislature wrote the law.
STFU FFS, thank you again. The original Hebrew of Exodus 30:23 included a massive amount of cannabis. It's scriptural, Utah. Get it in gear and legalize it.
You know what they need to do? They need to make all of your cannabis products oil, and then just have it distributed through a pyramid scheme.
Utah can get behind a good pyramid scheme.
Yeah, I'm telling you, just have your bishop, go in and have his wife sit down and have a little meeting together and be like, this essential oil will change your life. It'll be legal in a heartbeat.
Oh, we already read that one. Thank you again. Sorry for that. Yes. We've been doing this for 2 hours. Are you still good? I mean, I don't want to hold you here.
If you're good, it's up to you. I mean, if your chat's bored, if you have other things to do, I don't even know what your day job is. So,
well, it's a holiday here, so nothing. My day job is just sitting in my firm typing up stuff. That's my exciting job. So today's my day off.
So are you a transactional attorney then?
Well, I mean, as you know, here in Korea, we can't actually be practicing lawyers here in Korea.
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah. There are no foreign lawyers in Korea. There are lawyers who are living in Korea. We're essentially consultants behind the scenes. We can't go to court. Obviously, we don't have Korean legal licenses, but you basically do everything but go to court, do the research, write the letters, write the opinions, get the Korean lawyers to sign off on them, and do consulting and things like that. I do probably 70% admiralty and maritime law with the shipping issues, collisions, explosions, cargo damage, crew injuries, things like that, and then 30% corporate and transactional stuff.
Oh my gosh, that's exactly what I wanted to do. I'm not even joking. I wanted to go to Busan University and study like maritime law. I wanted to do everything that you're doing. I worked at Raytheon for a short time doing trade compliance because that's what I thought I was going to end up doing one day. That is so funny. If
you had done that, you probably would have had my boss for one of your professors. He was the maritime adjunct at Busan National around the 2012, 2015 time. So.
Wow. By the grace of God, I've been brought to where I am now. So there you go.
Yeah, I mean, that's people like always say, would you go back to the States and practice? I would have to go to law school again. I mean, I know less than nothing about the law of the state I'm licensed in.
Well, you basically become a practitioner now, a professional practitioner, and less so of a lawyer. So.
Yeah, stay strong again. I don't do super chats to answer questions for gratitude for answering. Thank you. I think you did a lot of typos on that $25 one. I think I did. It doesn't matter. We understood it. We got the message.
You're so sweet. Thank you so much. Stay strong. And you stay strong too.
Invite DUI guy. DUI
do it.
He's probably asleep. It's like 3 o'clock in the morning where he's at, or 4
Where
o'clock in
is
the
he?
morning. He's in Virginia, I believe.
No, it's only 12.
So 12 there?
Yeah, it's 12 in Virginia right
yeah, I
now.
guess it is, isn't it?
2 hours ahead of me.
Well, let me send a Twitter to him, and we'll see if he's up and around.
That'd be
All
sweet.
right. It's away. Stay strong again. Wow, crazy organ talk. Think I'm behind. Good night, guys. Keep it up.
Good night, stay strong.
Bye.
You're a champ.
Wow. Yeah, you are behind by about an hour and 45 minutes. That would explain why I didn't see the messages. Sorry. Legal Vice says, no, he is live and got catfished by someone pretending to be a childhood friend of Amber Heard. Oh, well.
Shut up.
Oh, well, I don't do the drama, but that sucks to be him. I only vet just people I know everybody I have on, and B, a little bit of vetting that doesn't hurt. So when is the election?
It's in November. So it's just me and Sim, and I'm ready to take them out. So you guys vote for me, tell your friends, share my video. If you look for DA4DA, it should come up in your YouTube algorithm feed. And you can share that with your friends and family. You can donate. And I'm stoked to take our county back, make it a safer and better place for everybody.
And what do you plan on doing campaign-wise between now and November?
So I'm doing all the parades, but I did get a megaphone, which will be a very, very needed improvement in my campaign strategy. So I'm doing all the parades. Obviously, I'm going to be purchasing a lot more signs, flyers, mailers. I will be doing a few more videos, but I'm going to be doing them as ads, actual TV, Hulu, YouTube ads. And I'm really excited for those. I'm not going to give any spoilers here, lest my opponent be listening. But they will be very edgy and entertaining. This first video was meant to be more shocking and serious, because I don't think people here in Utah are pretty blind to the criminal side of things. They are not very aware, unless you live in Salt Lake City proper. Most people outside of there aren't very cognizant of it. It's always someone else's problem. And I think, just sitting down and going through the facts with people was a big eye opener for a lot of people here. So my next one's going to be funny. And then the one after that, I'm going to sit down with victims and do a victim interview.
Oh, wow.
And allow victims to actually have their voices be heard.
There's something funny. Not to change the subject. We forgot about the SLC Punk trailer.
Oh yeah.
I was just when I was sending DUI guy the clip, I saw that this I still had the tab open. I'm like, oh crap. So let's take a step back to SLC Punk trailer. Okay, let me bring up the screen here. Where are we? All right, let's give her a crack and see what happens. Put us down here out of the way.
40.
I'm gonna probably have to stop it a couple of times to avoid the copyright strike on the channel. But
are you monetized right now?
Yes, I am.
So maybe we shouldn't.
Oh no, we can do it a little bit, no problems.
Okay.
The thing about me and Bob, and pretty much all of us, was we hated rednecks more than anything else, period. Because rednecks for us were American incarnated. What could I say? We weren't much more than a couple of young punks.
I have seen this.
Oh yeah?
Right? This guy looks like a geek, but his name's Mike.
You've seen this?
Yes. This is a funny film. Yes, definitely you need to watch this movie.
Okay.
He's one of the most hardcore guys in the scene. Well, what could happen? Stay where you are. I'll be right back. This is great. It's my favorite part.
I live next door to the guy with the shotgun, by the way.
We all do.
looking for revolution.
Okay.
Is his hand okay?
This takes place in SLC, I'm assuming.
That scene right there looks like it was shot in Ogden, but you know.
Ow!
You remember when you were young and you wanted to set the world on fire.
Oh, and then, yeah, nice Travis Bickle thing here. We got the full on taxi driver gear going.
That's nice. I had a jacket just like that.
When you were young and you wanted to set the world on fire.
Okay, I'm gonna watch it. I'll give it a crack. That's not a problem. Thank you for the recommendation, whoever did that.
Oh, anyone who's not LDS, not Mormon, who wants to watch a really great Mormon film, who wants to understand Utah culture a little bit better, I highly recommend Singles Ward. I feel like it is one of the most it's just a masterpiece, especially if you don't know the lingo. You have to go look up everything they're saying. Very well done.
Oh my God, we just jumped up to 1,100 people here. I haven't got an answer yet. Let me send him another. Let me send him another text. Dang it, where are we here? Talk about something for a minute, Danny, while I do this.
Okay. So there was this one time in band camp. That's probably a little outdated now, that reference. When you guys come here to Utah, do feel free to reach out. Like the phone number on my website, I probably should. Never mind, I'm not going to say this.
Yeah.
But feel free to reach out, send me an email, and I will give you the grand tour of Utah. I'm going to say this openly because no one's going to find it. I actually had a YouTube channel where I did a vlog, a travel vlog, and I went to all the cool little old places of the Old West that no one else had been to before. So I would take people to little ghost towns here in Utah where you can still find actual snake oil bottles that are just sitting there right outside of an open mine. Really, really interesting places. Utah is full of unique history. I don't think most people know that Utah was it was the first state for a woman to vote legally was here in Utah. I think we were one of the first states to have a female governor. I could be wrong on that. And part of the reason for that is women here in Utah. So during the time, soon after women got the right to vote.
Hang on here real quick. Got to do a timeout. DUI guy just did a major drop here, a dump into my channel. So we have about 1,000 really confused people right now. Hi, I'm Legal Vices, and this is my channel. Like and subscribe. That's the price of admission. I did a Taylor Shabusiness criminal complaint reading yesterday and bled 100 subscribers because I guess they were offended and upset. But I am talking now to the absolute most unbreaded woman that I know on all of LawTube. It is Dani Ahn, who is running for the Salt Lake County, Utah District Attorney. The election's coming up in November. We've already talked about Depp. We've already talked about cameras in the courtroom, and we can do it all again because it's been 2 hours and I got nothing better to do. And we are bringing on DUI guy as well to join us. Welcome, Chief.
How's it going, brother?
It's going good. We're just kicking it at this point.
Dude, I got fucking scambered on my channel.
I heard.
Yeah.
What happened?
So I had a source which has been leading me on for about a week and fed me some very information that I could verify. Information that did not just come from one source, information that came from her and other sources. It's been almost like a coordinated strike. And she has been telling me for days that she's been talking to Amber Heard's family, Amber Heard's father, Amber Heard's childhood friends, gathering intel. I mean, she was milking me like a prize cow for days.
Oh.
And
Ah.
finally, she decided to strike gold tonight. And I'm like, all right, let's do this. What do you have? She's like, well, I have Sarah with me, who is a childhood friend of Amber Heard's, and she'd like to go public, talk about Amber. I'm like, all right, I'll set the stage. Can I tweet about it? She goes, yes, you may tweet about it. I tweet about it. I send a link. I create a platform. I say, let's fucking rock and roll. Let's do it. Are you ready? I mean, we're literally like setting everything. Everything is, I'm nervous because I'm like, someone's going to back out at the last second. There's no way. This is like too far-fetched. And now 11:30, so about 15 minutes ago, they both come on and I start asking questions like, who are you? Tell us about yourself. What do you know? And she's starting to talk in like the most general fucking terms possible. Like she's talking about how we would like to go camping. They said the word camping like 15 times. And then she called Amber Sarah several times. And I'm like, I was literally had this face on for like 10 minutes as I'm listening to their story, like very suspect. The entire chat is throwing red flags. And I'm just like, okay, so tell me a story about Amber Heard. And she starts telling the story, and we would go to the lake. And I'm like, all right, which lake? And she couldn't remember. Okay, who did you go with? Well, I went with my significant other, and Amber went with her significant other. Okay, what was her significant other's name? Well, my significant other's name was Josh. What about hers? I don't remember. And I was like, okay, do you have photos? She goes, yes. I'm like, email them to me. Disconnected. So DUI guy stepped on a bee.
I'm sorry to hear that. Oh, dang.
So sorry, man.
That sucks. Well, see, at this point, I'm convinced that I'm part of the group we were tweeting about this morning that believes this is a concerted action to force an appeal on some sort of grounds of juror misconduct or something. So I've sort of specifically not having anyone on that has anything to do with with the Heard trial. Anyone that's claiming to be a juror, I mean, it just seems like poison at this point.
You know, DUI guy, I'm not here to blow sunshine up your ass or make you feel better about the situation, but I do think that it takes a real man to admit when you've been trolled and played, and to come out and be like, well, that sucked, you know, like that takes balls.
What can I do?
On you.
What the fuck can I do? I even asked my chat. They helped me come up with the title, the new title of the video. It is now called "The DUI Guy Gets Scamber Alert for 15 Minutes of Fame," parentheses, AKA stepping on a bee, close parentheses, red flag.
Oh.
And speaking of stepping on a bee, DUI guy sends in a lovely dude, check Twitter.
That was like 15 minutes ago, you damn boomer.
Hit up Good Logic. I hope he's asleep. We were talking just before you were on. We were talking about his Purim genie evening on stream that he just leaned into when he was slightly above the BAC limit for streaming. Oh, you haven't seen that? Oh, go check out.
What happened?
It was like after Purim, and he was with his family, and he was like wearing this genie costume, like Disney Aladdin thing, and was just ripped on stream. I mean, to the point where Nick and Legal Mindset are like going on his channel, going, dude, cut it off, get out, bail. And he's just, hey guys, what's up? And then he woke up the next morning, watched it, and leaned straight into it.
By the way, sorry to cut you off. I have to watch that. But somebody just super chatted you. It's called vetting DUI guy. Let me explain something to you all. I have vetted this woman thoroughly, for the record. Thoroughly. Like I said, I would not just jump on cold turkey. I'm not an idiot. I get thousands of messages literally talking about the same thing. She has been vetted. She is such a good con artist. She has maintained and fed me just, I mean, she is obviously within the Amber Heard camp. There's no question about it at this point. She knew just enough. She fed me like a little bird. Let me give you just enough tidbits to keep you interested, to make you feel like I'm legit, and then I'll betray you at the very last minute when you absolutely have full confidence in me. She played it like a pro. I have never been this set up yet. This is the first one for me. And I think
mean, you can only go ahead. Sorry.
So just going to say from this point forward, I may start pre-recording my interviews rather than just going live. Like Morgan Tremaine was a fine one. It's like I could see his face. Like it's Morgan. Hello.
You've seen it. Yeah, you've seen his face before.
I've seen his face in one courtroom somewhere. I can't remember which courtroom.
Yeah.
But anyway,
he was the Draco Malfoy TMZ guy in the Heard Depp thing. A DUI interviewed him the other day.
This was a coordinated setup, and again, one day we will find out. The truth always floats to the top, just like it did with who booted me out of the courtroom. Everybody already knows who it is, and just like with this one, eventually these two women who are somewhere in a camp around a campfire in Austin, Texas, presumably. I know there's Central Time. That's pretty much confirmed. Yeah, they'll get what's coming to them. And I won't have to do a thing. The internet avenges karma.
Yeah, I mean, there's only so much vetting you can do before you have to pull the trigger or not pull the trigger on an interview. And then, I mean, obviously you were asking the right questions, which eventually led to the exposure. So, you know, I mean, that happens. Shit happens.
Exactly. But anyway, I didn't mean to steal your thunder.
No.
I know you've been like...
No.
We're just shooting the shit right now.
We're grateful, man. Go ahead. Keep going.
I want to wish you DA for DA. That is like fucking genius. For district attorney. I love that. I was like wondering about that, and then you explained it. I was like, good luck to you. I hope you win.
Thank you so much. I hope so too.
So if you can't file a pro hoc lychee. I cracked myself up. Okay. Thank you for that. Matthew, what are we drinking tonight? Again, it's 1:30 here. I still have my now very cold coffee. I'm lame drinking Crown. Hey, whatever you like, the way you like it. Anybody else drinking? You're drinking your orange, your what do you call it? The Yuja cha tea there. What else? Are you drinking anything, DUI guy?
Water.
You got coffee, tea, and water. This is the breaded bunch here now tonight.
Why are you drinking water? I feel like if anyone deserves a drink right now, it's you.
That's why he should be drinking water.
I don't drink alcohol.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah, I quit like 3.5 years ago and never looked back.
Missouri backwoods fishing. Bought a Maserati because DUI guy drives one. That's all. Midlife crisis at 27.
Check.
I did see a nice, beautiful, just it was just bright metallic blue Maserati convertible out in front of my place the other day. I really wanted it. It was nice.
Okay. Me to my campaign so that I can get a convertible Maserati so that when I go through the parades, I look super excellent.
Joe Pancake says, we still love you, the DOI daddy. You too, Legal Vices. Thanks. And don't forget DA for DA. Stay strong. Thank you so much again. You're being so generous tonight. She totally hearsayed your behind. See what she did there with that behind. I was about to leave, and here you go, dude. That's nice. Sounds like it was a live stream voir dire. Yep. That's what it's there for.
Or a client interview.
Yeah. But no. So what's going on now that you've bailed on the interview? What's it's about what 1 a.m. there?
12:30. Yeah, I'm about to go to bed. I mean, okay. What else am I gonna? I'm literally sweating as I'm sitting in this long sleeve shirt, man. Like I still have COVID, and I'm getting better, but I'm still like you can probably hear it. I'm talking through my nose just a little bit.
Yeah, I'm glad you're still able to do this while you've got it. But I mean, you're DUI guy. Have you seen DUI guy's channel, Danny?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so
I mean, they have. I was a little starstruck. I was like, "Oh my gosh, he's on!
Stop it! Stop it!
Oh my gosh!" Yeah, no, it was epic. So I'm glad you're here.
As a defense guy, any questions you have for a potential DA? Any issues? Any things? Any pressing you wanted? She's taking the questions like a pro here.
No, give me advice. Don't give me hardball questions.
You do not want me to ask questions. You do not want me to ask questions. I will just throw some softballs.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
DUI guy, what do you think makes a good DA? A fair opponent for you, someone where you're like, yes, this is someone who I've gone against. I really like working with their office, not because I get what I want, but because I know that my client's going to get a fair shake and it's going to be a fun run at things. And I'm not positive I'll win.
And I'll, before you answer, I just want to say her opponent, who was running unopposed until she jumped in the race, is one of my least favorite lawyers in the entire state of Utah. Not one of the, and so I'm glad that he's running opposed, and this is a good chance for her to hear someone who is an experienced defense lawyer give her advice on what a fair DA looks like.
Sure. At the top of the list, don't set arbitrary policies, like office policies, that tie your assistant's hands so much to the point where they cannot negotiate certain cases. That is by far the number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 biggest hurdle for criminal defense attorneys. When we come in and we go, hey, I have this case, here are the facts, and they go, oh yeah, we have to go this route. And you go, no, but what if we negotiate like we do on the other cases? No. Office policy dictates I must do this or else I get canned. What do you mean we have to try this? Like, what? No, I'm sorry. I can't do it. I'll give you a classic example. Actually, I'll give you 2 classic examples. Number 1 is traffic tickets. Even though they're a dime a dozen and there's thousands of them every single day, there is an office policy here in Jefferson County promulgated by Mike O'Connell, the current district attorney. We call him county attorney here because we don't have districts. We have counties in Kentucky. We're a Commonwealth state. Mike O'Connell has said, if you fall into this group of tickets and it's below a certain speed, it's like a reckless, a careless, a this and that, a failure to maintain lane, whatever, and it's 35 over the speed limit or under, we can give you something called Drive Safe Louisville. It is like a special type of traffic school. So you have your state traffic school, which is the Kentucky State Traffic School. And now you have the county attorney traffic school, which a lot of other counties do as well. The only problem is it is glorified extortion because the money that you pay, it doesn't go through the court system. It is $179 that goes into the county attorney traffic school fund, which goes into the county attorney's office pocket. And then in exchange for this $179, you get a flat out dismissal after you complete a program. You know the joke from The Office, show me the difference between this picture and this picture, and it's the same picture. It's like one picture is you complete state traffic school and get a dismissal, and the other picture is extortion. Show me the difference.
Yeah.
There is none. And it's legal. And we have some judges who have actually spoken up about this and refuse, like they actually recuse themselves anytime that a Drive Safe Louisville case comes through to the court system inside their court in the morning, the afternoon, whatever. And they step away from the bench because they've actually filed an appeal. And they filed a case and they have appealed it. And I don't remember how it ended up. I don't think it ended up anywhere really. But the bottom line is it now ties our hands. Like we walk in, we try to get some sort of negotiation going. And it's almost like an offer you can't refuse. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's a great offer. You tell your client, look, you complete this traffic school. You don't even need me. Go to court yourself, pay $179 and get the fuck out of there. And you're done. And it's dismissed. Oh, really? Sweet. Awesome. It looks great on paper, but it's so dirty. It's so nasty. And I'm fervently against it. And I think that there's a much better way of dealing with it. So that's number 1. Number 2 are programs like diversion. Diversion, I very much am a huge proponent of, absolutely love, but the rules sometimes are so arbitrary about why you qualify, how you qualify. I think you guys have already talked about it based on the
yeah. She's talking. Give your comments, Danny. See what you think.
You're
Go
preaching.
over it again.
No, you're preaching. Continue.
That was 2 hours ago. Go give your thoughts on it, Danny.
My thoughts on it are this: it can't be arbitrary. It can't cause someone to, go into the cycle of recidivism, which is what usually happens with diversion programs, right? It's like, here's your parole conditions. Now you have to go pee in a cup. Now you have to go and go to this counselor twice a week who isn't trained or qualified at all, right? And you also can't leave your house at 8 p.m., right? And you have to go and do this. Or they send them to these nonprofit, right, groups that are being funded by the county. And they don't go and look at any of the statistics or the data to see, oh yeah, it actually has failed the vast majority of the people who go into these diversion programs that they have to pay for. They have to pay for the counselor. They have to pay for everything else. They also have to maintain a job. They also have to have a house to live in. Oh yeah, and they're late on their child support because they've been in jail for the last 8 months, right? These diversion programs have to make sense. They have to be applicable to that defendant, right? Whomever it may be. You can't just throw a bunch of defendants in because they fit within a certain class of criminal, right? Or criminals, right? You have a defendant, you've tried a case, and you're like, hey, look, not as a part of a plea deal, but you're going to be convicted, right? You've secured a conviction at this point. You're moving forward. The guy's guilty. Okay, great. Let's get them actual help that actually works. And then follow up on a 1 year to 2 to 3 year cycle. Say, okay, out of the 50 people that I sent you, how many did you actually help? How many were successfully, brought out of this criminal cycle? And how many ended up going right back into their old habits? There needs to be an efficiency standard. There has to be something to say this is working or it's not, because otherwise you're just repeating the cycle and wasting taxpayer dollars. Sorry, my voice is completely gone. I apologize.
No, you're fine. You're fine. And on that, I want to say two things. Number one, a better option sometimes, depending, obviously for like the first offenders and all that, just a simple deferred prosecution, no conditions other than a hook on the event that they reoffend. Meaning,
like a plea in abeyance.
A plea and pass, like plea and defer sentencing for 1 year or what have you, or set aside guilty plea after 6 months to a year or whatever. That's an option. And then another option, this is completely off the cuff. Maybe you've talked about it, maybe you haven't. In 2012, when I was in my second year of law school, I took a class with Professor, God, of course, I'm not going to remember her name right now, but I really want to give you that name because she was an interim dean in like 2014 or 15 of the University of Louisville Law School. You can probably look her up. Anyway, I took a class with her, and it was called conferencing. I'm trying to remember the exact terminology, and this, of course, it's going to betray me right now. Basically, here's how it works. I'll explain the process. Maybe it's called different words and different nomenclature in different places. This is how it works. Let's say an individual commits a crime. It has to be a crime against society. It can't be like, actually, most crimes really are against society. I guess but you wouldn't do it with like a speeding ticket. Let's take an extreme crime. Let's take a robbery, okay? A robbery. A woman gets her purse stolen by a common 16-year-old kid, a thief, and he's brought before a judge. Now, instead of being like sentenced or pleading guilty or anything like that, he goes through this, some of them call them mediation, but that's not exactly what it is. It's a criminal mediation. They go to this conference, okay? And you have a conferencier or whatever you want to call them. And Susan Duncan, oh my God, your chat is amazing. Yes, it was Seriously? Susan Duncan. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, Susan Duncan was the professor. Oh my God, chat to the fucking rescue. How did you know that?
Nobody rescued me when I was trying to think of the name of my property professor that started teaching law in 1939. He taught one of my classmates' grandfathers.
My grandmother hasn't figured out how to use YouTube at 12:40 at night. That's why, buddy. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Dude, that was impressive. Susan Duncan, yes, reach out to Susan. She was
Okay.
spearheading this whole conferencing ordeal. Basically, and this is how it works. You sit a bunch of people from the community in the room. You have the conference person who's leading this conference. You have the defendant seated, there. And of course, the victim. They all have to agree. This is the key, though. They all have to agree. The victim has to agree to be in the room. The perpetrator has to agree to be in the room. And the facilitator, that's their name. They facilitate the conversation, the facilitator of this conference, right? And basically, it's an open discussion. It won't work on sociopaths and psychopaths, of course, but it will work on humans, non-Amber Heards, basically.
Non-Amber Heards, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, they get to see and feel like this grandmother tell the tale of how she was walking from the bus stop to her home, and she was thinking about her grandchildren, and she bought them little candies, and next thing she knows, it is snatched from her hands, and you get to hear the emotion, the outpour, the seeing the tears, the pain that she went through, and hopefully change this 16-year-old boy's life, in my example, rather than becoming a career criminal, realizing, holy crap, I'm hurting real people with real feelings. I shouldn't be doing this, and then it opens the door to their like emotional intelligence and understanding of the real world, that maybe they've been living in a more skewed reality, and so on and so forth. And it's much, much better than just labeling them as you're convicted of a misdemeanor and moving on kind of thing. You see what I'm saying? Have you ever heard of this concept?
It sounds like the worst HR meeting of your life. Which actually, it sounds like it could work. I mean, I'm not opposed to it. I mean, pretrial conference to an extent should be that, right? But it's larger than that. It sounds like some kind of community healing mechanism. And I'm always open to those types of processes, because I've known many victims. I myself, right, was a victim of someone who tried to break and enter into my house. And I looked at the guy's docket because I had access to the docket.
Oh no, you froze.
He had been robbing petty theft dating back to like 1970.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we got you. He was doing crimes back in 1970.
Yeah, so just petty theft. And when the prosecutor called me to ask, well, what are your thoughts? What would you like to do? I said, look, go ahead and prosecute him. I was like, but I don't want him going to jail. I want this guy to get actual help. Like, he's clearly a klepto. He clearly needs real help. And I'm not sure what ended up happening, but I hope he did, and it sounds like that kind of a meeting might work.
It seems like this would be more effective with youthful offenders rather than the hard, toughened guy that this is just the life he's accepted that he's going to live. It seems so you're taking it out of the adversarial situation of the courtroom and putting it in the room like this. Look, kid, this is the actual old lady you hurt. This is actually her. I think that would have a much greater impact on, the younger, I would say someone under 25 who hadn't become set in their ways.
Oh yeah. And I mentioned youth court. Youth court is essentially this, with a very large emphasis on mentoring as well. Right. But post minors, I think this could work. I think it's a good idea.
And I just want to really quickly burn through a few of these chats because most of them are for DUI, and I don't know whenever you're going to bail. So please check Law and Lumber Twitter. It's wild. Okay. Yeah, that's thank you for that donation, by the way. Tamara Podwalny. Sorry if I screwed that up. She was your Judas at DUI guy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I saw that one. Oh, wait, we found the culprit.
What?
Shut up. Read it now.
We found the culprit. Her name is Sarah Walker. It's at Sarah WA35834527, the Twitter handle. I just tweeted about it.
Oh, cool. We'll have to check that out.
We found the culprit, you guys. She tweeted, quote, "Hi, Eve, exclamation point to Eve Barlow and D Stew. Tune in to KYDY Guy in 30 minutes, exclamation point. He will be speaking to one of Amber's childhood friends, Kissy Face," end quote.
I'm not a part of any doxing. I'm not a part of this. I wash my hands of it.
You have been found
again. Well,
in 20 minutes.
We could say that she heard about it and she's just relaying the information. So we still have to give her the benefit of the doubt that she just heard this information and passed it along.
Sure.
So, I also don't recommend doxing anyone. Not here anyway, but she could still legitimately have just said, "Oh, hey, I heard this is going to happen. You may want to watch." But anyway, Andy has some advice for you. Don't delete this. This is back when you were talking about your stream. Don't delete it if you're red flagged. We'll mess with appeal, and they'll say they have to keep the red flag, and they can't help you. Delete it. Delete after, if so. I just read that one. Sorry about that. Mr. Upper Torso. That just reminds me, that was one of my favorite lines from the whole Johnny Depp thing during her ranting, maniacal laughter thing when she's like, "Suck my dick, suck my dick." She's like, "I want to have nothing to do with your torso region or torso area," or whatever he said. With your upper torso area. Double super chat for LV, double Q for DUI. Larry, please add Doug Stanhope to your list of potential interviewees. That would be fun. He's have some fire about AH. STFU FFS, a good DA, literally the opposite of Thomas Binger. And that's one thing she said she wanted to be, the opposite of Thomas Binger. So we're doing good there. Missouri Backwoods Fishing in Missouri. Money is the name of the game. Donate to Sheriff's Fund and you'll find your way out of a lot. Again from STFU. New Jersey, if found guilty, you still pay fees. If found not guilty, you still pay fees. Well, that would suck.
Oh, no, we have something similar.
DUI wants a Gill as DA. I don't kill, I guess, but Gill is the last name of the current Salt Lake County public district attorney. Sorry.
He's basically saying you want a guy who's going to let you win every time.
Okay. So
or put no conditions on pretrial release, which is what's been happening.
Matthew Self, thank you very much. DUI guy, check your Twitter DMs. Might have a fun concept for you. Don't know what that means, but okay. I think the middle name is Filibuster. Well, see, you're dealing with three lawyers here. Not talking is not a trait that any of us have. None of us have trouble talking incessantly for long periods of time. The Michael Malloy Show. This is a great YouTube channel and a great panel. Thank you for this. I hope your guest wins the Salt Lake County District Attorney. Plus, you have fantastic mods. Love this channel. My mods are freaking awesome, and I'm so glad for what? Legal Vices used legal mindset to get on Ricada, then abandoned him. He was just on my show like 2 days ago. What are you talking about? He's in America having a vacation. Chill the fuck out, guys. Scoot, you're spamming. We're bros, man. He when he gets back from America and we're back on the same time schedule, we're gonna be doing it. I didn't abandon him. Go check 2 days ago when he was on my stream, for God's sake. Stop making drama for people on the law tubes. We don't need it. There's plenty of it to go around. All right, we've got again, stay strong. It's great that you have the heart for someone that needs real help. And we know there are lots of fakers. They're street smart. When one is proved enough, the true colors shine through the cracks.
Thank you.
And the Squid, not sure if you've covered this, but what are your thoughts on DAs that like to overcharge someone because they don't want to go to trial? So you're saying overcharge them and then plead to a lesser?
I think it's total BS. It's a strategy it's an efficiency strategy. And I don't think it's right. I mean, it's a strategy, right? It's a legal strategy. I just think that you should charge appropriately for the crime that's been committed. And then if you want to move it to trial, you move it to trial. If you don't, then you go ahead and move forward on a plea deal. That's a case by case basis. And I trust my prosecutors to do a good job.
Stay strong. Love your mods. I love my mods too. And again, if you want, who are we at here? Two Scooter. If you want real stuff, half of my mods are also half of Legal Mindsets mods. Where the fuck do you think I got my mods? I stole them too. God, chill out, people. It's like it just. You actually said my name correctly. Not many of you get a first try. Awesome. Well, so dang. Sorry to break up the stream getting that there. I just hate getting backed up on these super chats and things because most of them
That's
I said,
all right.
like I said, are directed at you, DUI guy.
I might need to slip out because I might actually need to end our interview because I've had way too much of this tea. And by the way, is this not the cutest?
Oh, that is adorable.
My
Nice.
husband made that. Isn't that cute?
Aw. Where can we get the merch? We need the
You can
merch.
get the merch on my website. If you guys, when you go to contribute or donate to my campaign, just put in the comments section, I want stickers, and I'll have your address because I need it for disclosure purposes, and I'll ship you some stickers.
And on that note, I'm also gonna peace out. Thanks for having me, Vice. Nice meeting you, DA.
No problem. You sounds like you got
Nice
some
to meet
business
you
to take
too.
care of, DUI guy.
Hey, it's all good, man. It's all good. One step at a time. Next
Go
time
get your revenge.
I'll have to bounce back from it. Not a big deal.
And so I don't have to tell anyone to go over to DUI's guy's channel because that's where the 1,000 that are here right now came from. So don't have to do that. But
Don't
go
forget to
check
subscribe
out.
to these two and vote for her.
Hello, everyone. I think a lot of people look great as Jack Sparrow in America. Go over to www.da4da.com and check out her. She's got the bio. She's got the video we watched at the beginning. And both of y'all take care. I'm just going to clean up these last few and I'll get out too. It's been 3 hours.
All righty.
Thank you, folks.
For the last
Good
two
night.
with you, Legal Vices, and then
Yep. Okay.
Night, DUI
right.
guy. Thank you for joining.
Thanks for popping in. All right, let's pound through these again. If you send any more super chats from this point on, there's a good chance I won't see it because I have a separate chat column for the super chats, and that's where I'm at now. So thank you to everyone that's donated so far. Please, I don't do any more. Just like and subscribe. Hell, I've got 250 subscribers from DUI guys tonight. Thank you all. Don't freak out when you see.
Donate, and donate to me too.
And her too. Stay Strong says typo when one is probed enough. Sorry, no problem. We read through typos. Joseph K. Hello, everyone. I think Latu would look great as Jack Sparrow and Mara. I want to be Davy Jones. Yeah, I'm like a big Cthulhu fan, guys. I've got like lots of Cthulhu merch all around my house. We just did that one already. And finally, Robbie McCann, thank you so much. You didn't read mine. It was for her. Shit. What didn't I read? Don't send another super chat, Robbie. Tell me what, just repeat what I was supposed to have read. Damn it. I hate when I miss super chat. Robbie, what did I miss? Help me out here. Someone look for Robbie's notes here. I'm scrolling back. Damn. It's just a one-man show. I need like a full-on super editor that like takes care of my stuff for me because I'm totally incompetent.
No, you're not. Every single YouTuber I've ever spoken with who does live streams, it's all the same problems, like missing super chats that are pushed back. Hang on.
Robbie McCann says, hang on. So, okay, we're hanging on. And while we're hanging on, you didn't really, okay, we already read that. Sorry again. Carlos Estrada, better a bee than a phallus with a head in a bucket. Okay. Yes, I would rather step on the bee. Thank you.
My dog stepped on a bee.
My dog stepped on a phallus in a bucket next to the head. Nicole Shira, super chat was for you, Legal Vices. Thanks.
Oh.
Get rich, you sexy boomer. Thanks. Oh, come on. Where are we at, Robbie? I'm still hanging on.
We're hanging. Every minute that you guys send every time you guys send a super chat is one more minute I can't use the restroom. So.
Oh dear. Yeah. Dang. Robbie. Sorry, we're running out of time. It's there. I don't know where there. Just repeat what it says, Robbie. You say it's there. I've scrolled up and I can't see
Robbie,
it.
just say it again. I'm sure it was brilliant.
Yeah. Just retype it real quickly. I'm watching you and I'm not scrolling up so I don't miss you say it. I don't have any idea how long ago it was.
I bet it was so brilliant that they can't remember exactly what they said.
Oh, there it is. I found it. The DA that sees the person as a person, not a win. each case like a fingerprint. No two are alike. Don't judge the person by the file in front of you.
Yeah. Yeah. You get the benefit of the doubt. You get to, you know, you're innocent until I can prove you guilty or until the evidence suggests that I can. And then after that, you're mine, baby. I'm coming after you. You're going down and I can't wait. So.
And thank you so much for coming on tonight. It was awesome to hear from you, to talk some old school hometown stuff. And
so much fun. And
you
aren't
welcome
you glad
anytime.
I'm not a catfish?
Yeah. You're real.
I'm real. I'm the real deal. Oh, man,
come here
awesome.
to see real view. I still have to get used to the mirrored camera too. You're over here, but I have to point over here. So yeah, come here for real people. And Dani, you are welcome here absolutely anytime you want.
Thank you.
We do any of the streams, do any reviews. We're going to be doing the Marilyn Manson criminal complaint probably sometime next week.
Yes.
Just going to go read through that.
I kind of want to. Is this, hold on, Marilyn Manson. What is the, what is
this is a defamation case he's filing against his former woman, Evan Ward, saying that he SA'd and DV'd her during the course of their relationship.
I have read that article. And so I am very intrigued because she's not the only victim.
Yeah.
Or purported victim. So I think he's going to have an uphill battle to prove that that's not true, because we're talking multiple prior partners who are saying the same thing, very similar pattern. It's looking less like a Johnny Depp and much more like an R. Kelly, if you know what I mean.
Dani has rather long hands.
I do.
Not like Tommy Lahren long hands. I mean, not like alien fingers or
no.
Anne what's her face.
I hope that wasn't a perverted chat now that I think about it.
No.